Oh, start recording. So we talked about you researching professions, and I specifically also pointed out that some schools have AI policies, especially when it has to do with personal statement, which we saw in a particular school that we looked at yesterday. So bearing that in mind, know that if you're going to use AI, you need to also check out if the school has an AI policy that you have to follow, or better still, you use AI as a means for brainstorming. That is what I personally encourage people to do. You can use it to brainstorm. You can use Copilot, brainstorm ideas to better put up what you're working on, rather than depending on it solely to write. That thing is not human. And there is something about human language that you need to know, that if you put things down in your own words, it has an affect that it does to your reader. So that's one thing you want to own on to. So going off with that, we start with SOP, as that's where we stopped yesterday. We talked about how to carve SOP. You having the first introductory paragraph as your either motivation or background. And I remember I told you also that you need to have a thesis statement in the first paragraph of your SOP, which is towards the end of that paragraph. It should be about 3 to 4 sentences about your research interest. Your second paragraph should do well about either the courses or the experiences that you have that you bring to the table that are in line with your research. And the third paragraph should be about the professors that you want to work with in that institution. And I said the fourth one can be courses that you've done in the past that have strong overlaps with what you're working on currently, and also the courses that you will be doing in that school. You can't get this thing offhand. You need to search the school. You will see program outcome, not program. You see program outcome, program requirements. That's where you find your answers, not admission requirements. There are 3 different things: program outcome, program requirements. Program outcome is what you tend to gain after you must have done this program, while program requirements are the basic things that you need to go through, the different stages in that program. For example, first to second year, you do coursework if you're going for a PhD. The third year, around the second year, ending of the second year, you're writing your comprehensive exam, depending on the entry format that you came in with in the PhD program. If you're coming with a BA, your third year, you're probably going to be doing your comprehensive exam. If you come in with a master's degree, your second year, you're probably going to be doing your comprehensive exam. By then, you're done with your coursework. So you need to check the coursework structure. Read about what each of those courses entail. Just pick like two at most. Don't do 3. 3 might be too much to develop it, to focus on any paragraph. So you can do like 2 and see what you intend to gain and how that kind of influences your choices of research in that school. And in the last paragraph, which is like the 5th paragraph, you conclude why the school. I mean, you should give us a logical reason why the school, and afterwards thank them for you're positive, like be positive about their response. So that's what we talked about SOP, and some of the guidance that I give was for you to know how you have to proofread them and ask people. So now let's talk about personal statement. That's SOP. When we say personal statement, even from the word personal, what comes to your mind when you hear that? If you've ever had a chance of going to a police station, they do write personal statement. They write statements of what happened, what transpired. So if somebody asks you, or a child, or your niece, or somebody comes to you and say, could you please tell me what a personal statement is and what a statement of purpose is? So what would you tell the person in fewer words, just like three to 4 words? Just put it in comment section. Let me know and feel what your understanding of personal statement and statement of purpose is. Few words. If you have an idea, just raise your hand and we can call you for you to tell us what you understand by personal statement and statement of purpose. Anybody want to try? Okay, Zachary, you could go ahead.
Okay, the personal statement for me to think is about my personal experience, like where I come from, like the challenges that I face in my life, how did I come about it, how did I solve it, and what, for instance, the benefit I make to my community, and the rest of the things. And for the case of the statement of purpose, I think is they just wanted to know a little about myself, but they focus on the experiences that I have. For instance, the research experiences and the purpose for applying the school. If there's somebody that I see, for instance, the professor there that their research align with mine, I have to include them. For instance, what will I learn from the school that I applied to? And after the application, what are my goals? For instance, after the grad school and rest of the things, I think that's
Thank
it.
you very much, Zachary. From what I deduce from you and your understanding of personal statements goes beyond uh, grades. It goes beyond, it's more of the experiences that have shaped you. And from our comment session, we have uh, Eunice telling us personal statements should be about your journey, what has shaped you and future aspirations. Good. And that's what also Zachary said. We have Blessed Olga. We also said that personal statement is more like my personality. What is the drive? I mean, what drives my vision? What's the passion? How is it even relevant to the courses that you want to study in this school? Beautiful answers, I must tell you all. Yes, personal statement goes beyond your grade. It goes beyond your scores. It goes beyond your resume, what your resume looks like. This personal statement, because it's a personal, it's more or less like, what is the drive? What shapes me? What shapes my vision? What motivates me to doing this? What are the experiences? What are the researches? What are the things that I have done that incorporates all of this? So in personal statements, you are showcasing your personality. You are showcasing who you are. If I ask you, who is Mary? Who is Olga? Who is Eunice? Eunice is definitely going to say more things about herself other than her scores, other than being the best student in class, other than being a first class student. She's going to say more than that. She's not going to dwell on that alone. So, this is what you need to have at the back of your mind when we talk about personal statement. What's your motivation for doing a career? Why do you choose to do immunology? Why did you choose to do pharmaceutical medicine? Why do you want to study medicine? What's the drive? Is it as a result of your background? Is it as a result of a personal thing that you encountered in your daily life? Is it as a result of a course that you took in a school that ignited that experience in you? So you want to dig deep into this. You have to share these experiences because they are very important. They are personal. They don't have an overlap with others. Even when they do have an overlap with what other people do within, as people who have influence in your life, it has to be connected back to you because it's about you. It's not about them. Okay. So you have some skills that help you to move further in these things because they are personal. So you need to work on all of these things in your personal statement. In some schools, they will require you to write personal statements and statement of purpose. And they are going to also put up what they want you to do for each of them. Sometimes many students or many applicants tend to miss these things. They become repetitive. So if you want to get a good result out of these two concepts, you need to have a draft, an outline, and figure out what exactly do I want to put in my statement of purpose? What is my purpose for this program? Personal statement, what are my experiences? Statement of purpose kind of bring out statement of purpose also incorporates personal statement. Don't forget, that's the truth. It incorporates it, but not fully. But when you talk about personal statement, you are devoting your time entirely to your personality, to your experiences, to the things that have shaped your personal, not the grades that have shaped you. It's not grade that shaped you. Mm-mm. That's not what you're talking about there. It's not a course that shaped you there. But some things that are shaped your, it could be your experience, it could be you working with somebody at a professional level that have, brought out this zeal in you. Okay. Uh, so let's look at the difference between the two of them. We say personal statement. That was what I asked you. Who are you as a person? That was the first question. That was the first thing I said. Who are you as a person outside the classroom? Outside all of these things, who are you exactly? So why you need to answer that question first. Who are you? When we talk about self-improvement, we're talking about academic and professional goals. Remember what I told you when I said what your outline for for SOP should be. I talked about your academic goals. I talked about your academics, what you have done. I mean, the courses that you have done and what have you, that statement of purpose, you're trying to incorporate that. Purpose, the purpose of your sentence is to showcase your personality, your individual traits that are hidden by your courses, that your courses cannot even pinpoint those things. Your individual what traits that ordinarily the courses that you've done cannot show them. These things are shown by either your relationship with others, where you have worked, things that you have personally done that have shaped your life entirety. Here, you are demonstrating your qualifications. You are demonstrating, maybe you worked as, let me say, for example, personal statement, you worked as an head of something, something. What exactly did you learn in that role? How did it influence your decision? You know, that kind of thing. When you look at the tone, when you look at the tone, when you look at the tone, personal statement is more reflective. It's personal, it's not formal. Yeah, but statement of purpose is formal, and that's one thing. The first thing I asked when I said, if you have ever been to a police station before, you will hear them say, write your statements, write your statement, write what transpired. You know, now the emphasis on personal statement is majorly on your journey, your personal growth, how you have evolved over time, how you used to have, let me say, for example, maybe you had a challenge. Yeah, let me put it this way. Some people struggle, maybe as a result of a personal thing, maybe background or something, they struggled academically. How were you able to overcome such academic struggles? Yeah, that's something that should be in your personal statement. How were you able to overcome it? Some people struggle with grades, and they over time they overcame such grade. And some people also struggle with adaptability, resiliency, confidence level. These things are they are you. They are the things that define you in your personal statement. That's something that you want to think about. If you have questions, we're going to take them here, because I see somebody, okay, somebody said, I once had a prompt to write a personal statement talking about my academic and personal goals. So if you have questions, Mudata has a question, you can ask them. So I think this is what I'm going to be following. We are following what the slides puts across to us. So let me have your questions. If you have questions, you can
Yes,
raise your hand and ask.
yes. Thank you very much, Madam Mary. Two things. Number one, I don't know if it's possible to make the slide full screen for some of us
Oh,
that want to, take
yeah,
pictures.
it's possible. It's possible. I'm going to do
Great.
that.
And also, secondly, for example, with MasterCard statements of purposes and personal statements, when you're trying to apply to the different schools through MasterCard, maybe they've told you to go and apply. So there are particular six essays you have to write. And then they give you a room. Some schools like UBC gives you room to write between 500 to 2,000 words or 700 to 2,000 words. Is it a must that you use up the whole 2,000 words? Does it
I like
really
the
matter?
question. Is that the
Does it?
question?
Yeah, it says.
I like it, but it's true. You know why I laughed? Because I will speak based on my experience as a fellowship advisor in the school where I work at the Campion Institute. We usually encourage our students to maximize the space. That's what we say.
Oh,
By
great.
maximization, we're saying that you should use up the space, but say tangible things.
Yeah, yeah.
That's what
Okay.
to tell them. You can't have 700 words and they say write between 700 to 1,500 and you go and write exactly 700. Mm-mm, that's not good enough. That's what I would say. I think
Yeah.
people have a lot to say, in all honesty. And even you might be thinking your experiences are limited, but they are not if you think deep. So if they say 700 to 1,500, I would say dare to write 1,000, 1,200, 1,300, even if that's for those who don't have enough, because you'll find out a lot of people have enough and they will even exceed 1,500, but it's not good to exceed. That's what you don't even want to do. So you want to limit yourself within, if it takes you, think about the things that you can write that can cover up at least 1,200, 1,300. Think about it that way. And think about concrete way. And it boils down to drafting, outline. What do I really want to have in this application that I don't, in this section, not just application, because you mentioned different, because these things are sectionalized in this type of scholarship, just like Fulbright, Gilman, CLS, Goldwater, Obama's Voyage, and all of these scholarships that we do in my office. They are sectionalized and sometimes they can sound repetitive. But what you have to do, go to the webpage, and I'll tell you for this kind of scholarship you are saying, I am sure you may not know, they have advisor on that portal. They definitely, some of them have some advisor or whatever tips or something. Click on those tips and read what they are expecting each of the sections to have. That is the trick to responding to questions. Don't just respond based on what you see on the screen, but go to that. It's like Fulbright, for example. Let me show. Let me give you, it's like Fulbright. Let me use it as an example. So when you come to this, see what I'm saying. If you click on these things, you will read what the advisors are expected to advise their students or their applicants. So that is what they're expecting you. And whatever advisors are going to advise based on what Fulbright is saying, what Fulbright wants them to write, not just you attempting the question. And sometimes, just like this Fulbright one, you go to the components. Let's assume this is what you want to do. They also have questions. I mean, each one, look at this, this is what they are looking out for. So pay attention. Don't just go straight. Spend some quality time. It goes back to what I said yesterday. Spending quality time on the page of any application, whether you are doing Fulbright, you are doing MasterCard, scholarship, any form, especially like applications like Chevney, Commonwealth, what have you. Spend quality time on the program page. Spend quality time. See, they'll tell you adherence to proper format. They'll tell you what they want to know, what exactly they are expecting, so that you don't sound repetitive. Even the short answers essay, you will see the things that you are supposed to do. And that's why I also encourage everybody, go back to the program page. That's the best way to get a good way to write any response to any scholarship application. I hope that clarifies it for you. So let's listen to Jerome, and that will be the last question. We'll move to the next slide because of time.
Okay, Madam Mary, good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Yeah, please, I want to take you back a little bit on the SOP. Yeah, I am in the business field, and then what I have noticed so far, or I have contacted some of the PhD students in the business field, most of them advise me not to actually mention a professor in my SOP. So I want to have your view
They say you
on
should
that.
not mention a professor.
Yeah,
Now,
when you check most of the schools program requirements, you're not supposed to contact a professor. And then they actually say that you'll be assigned a professor either in your second year spring semester or in your third year. So I wanted to know your view, whether it's advisable to actually mention a professor in your SOP.
That's what I would say. This will be my response to this. Now, if a school says that don't contact a professor, it's okay. You don't contact a professor, and you don't mention that you have contacted the professor. That's that. If the school states it, that's one. Now, you mentioned a professor. Now, whether the school states it or not, or the state it, your mention of a professor when the school states it, you are not mentioning that you want to work with the professor. Get it? They are two different things. So you are not boxing yourself. I don't know if you understand. The school says don't contact the professor, but in your own response, you are just saying, I would say in your SOP, you may make a reference that this person has a work, as in you are saying the work of this professor and is related to what you're doing. So, but you are not saying that you have contacted the professor, because some applications, you have to explicitly state that you have contacted the professor. They are two different things. They are not the same. I can say that Professor Jael Logba's areas of research interest has a strong overlap with me and he has this, that. That does not mean that I want to work with him directly. No, I'm just saying that this person has a similar thing. But if a school, I'll repeat again, if a school says that don't contact a professor, you may not bug yourself contacting a professor because the school doesn't have that law. For example, in my own application, I didn't mention that I want to work with a professor. I only mentioned that this person has whatever. And my school assigns professors automatically, just like what you said. A default advice is what is given to you. Because in the line of your, when you're doing your research, you can change your professors, you can change your advisors in such cases. Which is different from those people that you need to make contact to a professor. That one is different. But if the school says don't make contact, don't make an explicit this thing, it's okay. You should obey the school rules as regard that. That's what I will say. If the school states it, you should obey the school rules. But if you feel like you mentioned the professor, it's not that you want to work with the professor, you are just laying emphasis, saying based on the research that you have done, is a different thing. But you are not insisting that you're working with the professor. I don't know if
all right. Yeah, thank you very much. And then I want to ask my last question too. It was based on yesterday's meeting. You talked about publication yesterday, and I wanted to find out from you that when you've published your work, and then later on you find out that that particular journal which you've published your work is predatory journal. I wanted to ask your view. Is predatory journal?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. That's what you find later on, because maybe you are naive in the first place when you do this kind of publication because of a lot of things on the line. But later on, you realize that particular journal is not befitting journal, or it's not journal, or a well-ranked journal. So is this the
I don't think your focus should be, let me continue. I don't think your focus should be on whether being ranked or not highly ranked as a newbie in academic.
Okay.
Because I'll tell you, even my professor said it's one of the courses I do in issues on scholarship. He said that when he published his first work, he published it in one journal like that. And afterwards, in the process, in the PhD process and everything, he used to mention his CV, but up till now, he doesn't even mention it. As before he became a professor, he stopped mentioning it in his CV and adding it because he already had much more relevant journals that are higher than those ones. I don't know if it's a growth, it's a process, because your CV will be too long that you don't even want to incorporate those ones again. So, but I would say as a newbie, your concern should not be whether the journal is so internationally recognized. That's what I would say. It's first getting your work outside the world. That's what is important. Is in the database. Subsequently, you can build your track of work. You can build it. Jerome.
Right, okay. All right, thank you.
So let's have who else again? Okay, Messi just entered. So let's go to the next thing. Let me see if we have. Okay, thank you for even responding to him character-wise, because characters are different from words actually. So let's look at application fee waivers. It's a must that you understand that you'll be required to, you don't have enough money. So if you want to apply to 7 schools, you don't have, you don't have enough money. You don't have money to go around to apply to 10 schools, 7 schools. So application fee waivers are one of the major ways that you can use to ask for favor in terms of applying for your admission. You can write to the school. Some schools have application fee waiver underneath that you need to go. You need to review and say, okay, but you need to state a good reason. I think I have, let me see if I have a slide on that. I have, so this application fee waiver, you can remodify it. For your application fee waiver to be more authentic, I would say start your program application. That way, some schools used to offer ID, because that ID can be used as reference. That is, if the school does not have an automatic application fee waiver on their system, you can use that as a way of addressing the program director to call attention, because your ID number is unique with you. Start the application first. In fact, some schools want to see that you have started the application before you are requesting for application fee waiver. If you have not started, you request for application fee waiver might not even really make sense. So sign up, create an account first so that you start. And then you introduce yourself, introduce your interest, where you're from. You tell them whatever you want, tell them how you viewed their school and how it's of interest to you. If you have a work that you have done, that's where it comes in. Like, you want to make your application fee waiver. It might sound like, is it not application fee waiver? Is it why I'm writing this thing? But you might go as far as because you want to get the attention. You want your letter or email to be fascinated. You want them to be attracted to it. You want to get a positive feedback. So you want to sell yourself better. That's what I'm saying. You want to sell yourself because you're just marketing yourself. This is what I have. This is what you guys are going to benefit if you give me this application fee waiver. So you are selling yourself. So you want to find a way. Know that you, like I said in our yesterday talk, that you need a research interest. Mind you, there is no way. If there are also other questions that you want them to address in the school, maybe it has to do with English proficiency, put it there so that you'll not be writing different mails at the time, so that they will respond to everything at once. I wish I can share one of these things, but it's not on this, it's on my Yahoo Mail, when I sent some of this email then in 2022 to these schools. And you will see them addressing my questions. Like, they're addressing it back to back. They're saying it like individually. They're saying, yes, this. Like 1111, how it's named. They're addressing it like that. They're addressing it. These people respond to emails that are professionally written, not emails that are not professionally written. You can't write an email in a hurry and you need to be professional and respectful, politeness. Language is powerful. You need to be polite in your request. So sometimes you can also attach, if your income is very low, it is something that you may want to attach to your email. Do a statistics of what income earning. When I was applying for it was post-COVID. So my major emphasis was on post-COVID, how my employer is unable to pay and offset my salary. They had a lot of backlogs because post-COVID, people are still struggling, trying to come out of the COVID pandemic, out of the pandemic. So that was, but now you cannot use COVID now. So what you can use now is inflation, maybe find out the statistics of income earners in Nigeria. What is the average minimum wage in Nigeria? Compare it to the one of the US. That's a strong bold move that you can make. Compare it to the one of the US. Yes, of course, it's higher. And they're asking for $100. $100 is like almost 170,000, 165,000. That's not even the minimum wage in Nigeria. Minimum wage in Nigeria is like 70,000, I think. So you can see it like that. So it's not commensurate enough. So it means that you belong to the lowest earning income and earning purchasing power, even in the world, not just in Nigeria alone. Yeah. So it might be something you want to think about, how you can configure, not on COVID now, because COVID is already post, so you will not be able to do that. So that can be a way that you can use to get your application fee waiver given. You need to write because some of them have a link. They will put it there on their website. You will click on it and request and write. Get your structure, write illogically and put all of the things that you need to put. And you might be lucky you will get a fee waiver. Some schools require you. I think one of the schools we checked out yesterday, I don't know if it's this school that has let's go. Thank God I saw it. So application fee waiver policy. As we committed, they have it. School has agreed to waive $75 non-refundable application fee for prospective students associated with the following. This is the people that they are doing. But if you read further, they also have this one being waived for veterans. Read their details and find out if you fall under that. If you don't fall on that request, under this, you can additional questions or detail regarding access to application fee, should you copy this email and write to them. Copy the email and write to them. Oh God, what did I do? So copy the email and write to them, and then they are going to respond to you. I don't know what I did here. I'm sorry, I'm struggling to do something here, which I don't know what I pressed. I'll share this. And then I'll share my screen again. Yeah, so find out if your school, additional questions, ask them additional questions here. Just click on this, copy it, and you might be lucky and you'll be giving waiver. Some schools require you to attend their fairs. Yeah, they require you to attend their fair. I don't know if this school is one of them, but some schools require you to attend their fairs. This is a school that does interview that I checked yesterday. So some schools require you to attend their fairs. Find out if, okay, this one says some applicants may be eligible for a waiver. BC da 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 da. You click on it, and then you find out if you are eligible for waivers. So find out whichever one. If they say you should attend fair before you can get a waiver, please attend the fair if you need to attend the fair to get it. Because what is important to you is the waiver. The waiver is very crucial to your application. And you are good to go. So for your interview for the graduate school application, this is most important thing that I always say, people, research, research, research. You need to research for your preparation for that interview. Like that school that we saw. If you already linked up with the professor and it's the professor that want to interview you, go and read about that professor work. Because that's what we tell our students that are applying for Fulbright, all these forms of scholarship. Because Fulbright too, they have interview with their affiliates. They call it affiliates. You may need an affiliate in the country you are going to and in the institution you are going to. So you need to read about their work. Do a simple Google search and feel like, what is this work all about? What are they asking me to do? What can I do? How can I do it better? Prepare yourself. Look at do they have grants? Do they have access to, do they give access to publications? Do they even have, can you even do more research with this professor? Try and understand all of these things. And then, is there a particular way that their lab operates that is different from where you're coming from? Definitely there will be, because you're coming from Nigeria, you're coming from a third world country, so it's not the same. You might feel like in Nigeria we worship a lot of people, we worship our professors, in fact we kiss the grants that they work on. It's not like that here. That's the honest truth. You respect people, yes, but everybody has their space. So you need to understand the culture. Read about the culture of working in a particular lab. What does it look like? Because you might be shocked that the professor, you don't know the kind of person he is. Google all of these things. Like, you can even reach out, you can even check them on LinkedIn. That's another place that you can do that. You can also check it on LinkedIn, you know that, right? You can check it on LinkedIn. So it might be something you want to do. It might sound so, it might look like is going to be strenuous, but do you need it? Yes, I think you do need it. You need to do that. So the next thing that you can do as well, prepare for thoughtful questions. How do you prepare? If you have done research, that's why the research is important. If you have done research about this professor and say, okay, this is what the professor is doing, this is the gap his research is filling in, bring out a question around that, his research interest. Now, another question that you can also ask is, what are some potential future directions for your research? Like, these are kind of questions that you are preparing for, because these are the kind of questions that you can be asked by the professor. What do you think that after this research, or in the course of doing the research, where do you see yourself in the next 5-10 years? Have you ever asked yourself where you see yourself in the next 5-10 years? Remember, 5 years is a short-term goal. 10 years above is a long-term goal. And when we say 5 years, this is what we tell our students, break it down. How long will your graduate program take? That's within that 5 years frame. It's within the 5 years frame. You're either doing your PhD program within that period, and when you're finishing, maybe you're getting a job. So the 5 years span can be the period you are developing yourself via the PhD program. You are doing your publishing works. You are attending academic discourses, workshops, seminars that has to do with your area of interest. That's within the 5 years, because you are still in the program within the 5 years. So it's a short-term goal that are a vision that are also achievable within that space. 10 years, I mean, where do you see yourself in 10 years' time? Definitely you have completed the research, you have completed the program. So you should be seeing yourself in one of the leading firms, or you should even be creating one for yourself if you see yourself doing that, or if you see yourself working in one of the leading firms or one of the leading institutions in the world. What then do you want to be doing there? Think about where your research is now and where your research could be within that space. Have you ever thought about publishing a book? Because it's one of the key tenure tracks. For you to be tenure tracked in the US as a professor, you need to publish a work. You need to publish a book, not a work, a book. Yeah, you need to publish a book for you to be tenure tracked in the US. So have you ever thought about that? If you know that you want to be a tenure track professor, after the completion of your program. So publication is one of it. Book publication, not just journal, not article. We're talking about book publication here. So think about that. What is the timeline for the graduate student project in your lab? That can be a question you want to ask the person. You prepare too, because they're asking you questions. You too, don't go there and go and be looking at them and be answering questions alone. When you ask questions to your interviewer also knows that this person is smart. That's the message you are passing across. This person knows what they are doing. This person has done a research about who we are and what we stand for in this firm. So that is why you need to prepare your own question. You know that this question is a very big question to be asked. What is the typical timeline? So that you will know on time. Maybe the professor is a very lazy person too, or he doesn't really. Most of the students take time to graduate. This question, it can tell you maybe 2 to 3 years, and you know that you can hold people ransom with their responses to you. You asked that question and you got the response, you got a positive answer. Do you know that? And in the nearest future, is something that you want to work on. So long you know that you are doing your own path in the thing, in the research in his lab. Are there opportunities for collaboration with other labs? This one is very, very good question. And I'll tell you why. Someone asked the question yesterday that how can they publish work after leaving academic work for some couple of years? How does this question not make sense in this regard? Does the professor even collab? Collaboration is key. My friend who is in University of Buffalo doing a PhD in social work collabs with her professor oftentimes. In fact, she's traveled 2 times with her professor. She went to Spain and California with our advisor. That's collaboration. They have both published a work together. That's collaboration. These are the things you want to envision. If you know that the kind of works, and I know, it's not like I don't know. It's not like if you know, almost all of us, 98% of people that are on this Zoom meeting, they are, let me say 80% are science people. So there's no way you don't need collaboration. You don't need a research. You don't need a lab. So that's one of the things you want to ask. How open is this professor to these things? How open is it? How open is it? So that's one of the questions you want to have at the back of your mind. Amada-san, yes, there's a recording. I think it should be available to you by Mr. Adishafeshuni. I don't know. So mentorship and advising style. That's also to your interview. You are not going to ask all of these questions. Just pick like 1 or 2. If they ask you, because they will ask you, do you have any question for us? That's when you ship in your own questions. It's not when they ask you, do you have any question for us? You'll be looking. You do not answer anything because you did not prepare. Because if you prepare, you will have questions for them. You are not only going, remove the mindset that you are going for an interview to be asked questions or to be interviewed. Have it in mind, you are going to also interview them. Yes, you're going to also interview them. How often do you have one-on-one meetings with students? These are crucial questions. Does it meet with them monthly? Once in a month? Twice in a month? What are your expectations of students for student progress and publication? Is it helpful, even in terms of publications? Does he have any expectation that you need to meet? That means you need to publish at least 2 work before you finish from his lab. You need to know so that you will know how you are going to sit tight when you get into his lab. At least you have a forehand information and know how to prepare yourself, okay? So lab culture and resources is a different country entirely, like I said. It's not a place we are used to. What is the working condition and, I mean, the atmosphere? What does it look like? Is it conducive for you? Do they provide laptops? Do they like, if you don't have all of those, you don't ask them laptop like in this interview, but that's what should be going on in at back of your mind. Like, because I know some labs, some people they have desktops installed in all of their labs, you know, for them, they have offices, all of those, so they have their own privacy, you know, that kind of thing. So is the grants that are available, is it through school or through lab? It's crucial. Your lab can provide you grants. All the 4 times that I've traveled for conferences, it's not my money. I didn't use my money to travel for conferences. So my department has a grant, but their grant is not high. I used to apply to my college and they will cover my this thing. So these are the things you need to put at the back of your mind. So if it's a professor that employed you, this question is majorly for those people that are being employed by the professors directly, that are giving the admission or they're working with that professor in their lab. You know, if it's a professor, the professor is the one that will be paying you. So definitely it's key that you ask questions about travel grants so that you will know if you are going to be sourcing for grants externally, or the professor will still be able to give you grants that will help you to go for conferences, seminar, workshops, and what have you. So these are the things that you need to, then funding support. What kind of typical funding situation for graduate students in their lab? This question can be dicey, so you need to be to find a technical way that you can use so that it not look as if you are attacking the person, okay? Are there opportunities for students to apply for external funding? Now, in terms of external funding, can your supervisor support you? I remember when I applied for this funding, Margaret funding grant for the US, Canada, and for US, Canada, and international students. My advisor was the person that I used as my recommender, and he went through my application himself. So, is this support? That's an external funding, or it's not internal. Can your supervisor or advisor, can he support you through that means too? Do they have time? Can they do that? You know, when we talk about career goals, it's a different thing that you enter into the program. It's a different thing that after the program, what next? Is it supportive when you are in the job market, when you are trying to transition into the job market? Is your supervisor going to be supportive to help you go through your application? How often does his students transition? How is the transition like for them? Is it smooth? Is it easy for them to transition from as a student to a professional? Those are the kind of things that you want to do. When I was preparing for my comprehensive exam, my advisor, the person I picked, I interviewed him myself. I asked him to send me a CV, went through his CV and felt like, okay, this guy is good enough to do what I want to do. He can help me. He's published about how many books? This is one of the books that he published. It's one of the books he published. He has about 3 books I published. All the 3 books I have access to them free of charge. I did not pay for them. There's one that is big like this. It looks like an encyclopedia. He offered them willingly because he wants me to progress in what I'm doing. If you check the price of those books, especially the one that is big like this, it's over maybe $100 or so. Because almost like an encyclopedia, is the co-editor of that particular book. I don't even ask him. I didn't ask him. He offered it. He gave it to me. So these are the kind of supports that you want to leverage on in your career, in your academic, because you're not going to do the PhD program alone just to come out and do PhD. Say you went for PhD or you went for masters or whatever. No, it's a progression. It should be a progressive. It should be a progression in your career. It should be something that is influential for you. I mean, positive thing for you. Okay. Now, when you are going for your interview, you want to own your story. Your story should be you. It should be unique to you. And that's why you need all of these things. If they ask you this question, why are you pursuing a graduate degree in this field? Let me just ask a random person. Let me ask you today. I'm not even if now. Anybody should respond. Put it in the chat or you respond. Let's see who is prepared enough. Why are you pursuing a graduate degree in this field? In the field that you're interested in, why are you pursuing a graduate degree? Why? Why do you, in that field, not in another field, not in pharmacy, but in immunology, in cybersecurity? Those of you that want to do, why do you choose to pursue that degree? Why? Can you give a response? Have you ever thought about that? It's not because you just want to do a degree. Where do you see yourself? Zachary, okay, we want to see, let's listen to Zachary.
Okay, in this question, when I'm asked to give a response to this, I'll just go on and say I'm applying for this field just to have an expertise in that field to address. I will give an example of the problem that I want to address in the area where I am. I'll just connect it to that. Like for instance, I will say I'm applying for this PhD in inorganic chemistry so that to have an expertise in how to make use of catalysts to design a material that will absorb sunlight so that it will combat or degrade the contaminant in the water, particularly in my environment. This is the kind of things that I would say.
Because you're solving a problem. Thank you, Zachary. There's a problem that you have spotted, and that's the problem you want to address. Another person can have another reason. So you need to spot a problem, spot a gap, and fill it in. So you need to come prepare for questions like this. Where do you see yourself after graduate school? You know, these kinds of questions are the things that you need to get yourself accustomed with. You need to understand that they are not just questions that you can just, you just think about them often. No, you need to come prepare for them. What are the common questions that you can be asked? These are some of them. You can do a screenshot on them. Tell me about yourself. If they say, tell me about yourself, focus on your academic background. Don't go and tell them that you are from family of 5, you are this, yeah. Nah. Just go straight, hit the nail on the head. I am Mary Nriagu. I'm interested in race, immigration, or you can even start. I'm Mary Nriagu. I graduated from because you graduated from University of Ibadan, and so yeah. And I did a research on race and immigration in Chimamanda Ngozi Adichie's Americana, which has been published or something. Even if it has not been published, you can say the work and say what it entails. And currently, I am interested in blah, blah, blah. Just link it up. It has to do with academics. State where you are coming from and state what you have done. Bring it back. See, you are in charge because it is you that is speaking. So it's whatever you lead them to that they are going to take. And it's where you lead them to that they're going to bring question up from there. Whatever you say might be what will necessitate the next question. So think about how you want to coordinate yourself. You are the driver of the boat. You're in charge. You are the captain. You're in charge. So take charge of that. Why are you interested in our program that is in our lab? That's why you need to do research. That's why I said research. You need to research about the lab. What is unique about this lab? Don't be generic. It might be the one reason you're interested in the lab is because of that particular professor. It might be because of the research interest. Maybe they did something by biotechnology or whatever, or they be able to see you spotted something that they created newly. It might be something like that. I think so. Be specific. Name one thing rather than naming 5 things. Name one thing rather than naming 5 things. What are your strengths? Let me ask you this question. If you say, what are your strengths and weaknesses? Don't think you don't have weaknesses. So you have, my dear. This is the point where they want to know your adaptability and resiliency skill. They want to know how you can adapt to a new environment, to a new lab, and you have to show it. I would say, if they say, what are your strengths? Say your strength. Say your weakness. Think about an experience that you encountered, either as a student or even as a professional, that happened to you. Even if it did not happen to you, now is the best time to go and be thinking of how to promote one story that you can tell. You need to think about a certain thing. If you struggled to get to where you are in terms of grade, to get a first class, or maybe you were in 3.2 in your first year as a result of financial inadequacy or trauma back home or something, or whatever. You can think about so many things. Do a simple Google check. What could be the reason why somebody, it will give you, since that I said, I use these things for brainstorming. And then you work your story around it. It's being smart. I know some couple of people who have, it could even be traveling. It could be something. It could be a working environment. Maybe when you first started a job and then you didn't know how to, you find it difficult to get into the rudiments of the job. But at the time, maybe you started paying attention to how people relate. That's the strength. You start paying attention. That's something that you did differently before. You didn't get those ones, but there must be something that you did to overcome such. So you turn your weakness to your strength. Your ability to turn your weakness to your strength is very important in such a gathering. Even if it's about a challenging experience that you had in terms of research work, think about it that way. You want to walk about it. You want to walk yourself around that. Okay, it's very important that you understand that it's not going to be a rosy kind of thing. Like, it's not going to be easy for you, but preparation will get you there. Yeah, preparation will get you there. When it comes to logistics and professionalism, set a good space where you can stay. Before this thing started, I knew I was going to have a meeting. My daughter was going to be at home. I already started telling her, I don't want to see her in this room where I'm going to be doing this Zoom meeting. It's not an excuse that we are hearing the background. In background, we are hearing noise of your children or your kids. Everybody had kids. And I'm always very professional, and I'll tell you the truth. I think I take this professionalism very serious, because when I was working in Nigeria, I didn't bring my child to my school where I was working as a teacher. I never for once took her to my school. I didn't give it an excuse. So I'm kind of very strict when I hear people maybe in a meeting. You can say it anyhow you want to say, but that's my personal, I don't like it. Like, somebody's making noise background. You may be thinking, Chile a lot money, you run your lot more, but what is professional is professional. Like, she has a child. You don't use your children as excuse to disturb other people. Professionalism is professionalism. Have a space that you can create at that moment. It's just 1 hour, less than 1 hour, you are done. Why are you going to, out of 24 hours in a day? If you need to leave a space to get the right thing, do it. Last year, I was supposed to be in India for a conference. I traveled back to Nigeria. I wasn't able to go to India, but I switched my presence for the conference to virtual. I was in Nigeria and I knew that the network would be horrible in the place that I am, because I was staying with my sister. I landed in Akure. What I did was to go and lodge in a hotel to sit down, so that I don't have this. My sister kids, because there are many, they will not be running up and down. I will not be seeing them. In fact, I had at the time, I was considering the amount of the hotel was study was small. I was considering to stay in one other side of their place. I would just stay there. You just or go to church. See, it's about thinking. There was nothing I didn't think about that time when I was in Nigeria last year, December. Either I go to church or I need a quiet place. I need somewhere I can just stay by myself and do these things within 1 hour, 30 minutes and go about my daily work. So it's being, do this logistics before that time, not when it's not that day. You will not start running a tasketa. It's not good. It's going to dent your image. It's going to give a negative impression about your working etiquette. That's what it's going to do for you. So be logical, create logistics, be professional, dress well. Even if it's a Zoom, some people they can tie wrapper and stay in a Zoom meeting. No, I can stand up because I'm wearing pants. I'm wearing a pant trouser. It's a Zoom meeting, but I'm well dressed for it. It doesn't matter whether it's a Zoom meeting. So long you want to turn your camera, as long you're going to do that virtual interview, dress corporate, like dress the way you should be dressed if you are going for the physical one. That's my point. Don't communalize it because it's virtually done. Don't do that. So after the interview must have gone well, send them a thank you note. Send them a thank you note. Tell them how happy you were with their meeting. I mean, meeting them was great, blah, blah, blah. It's good, though. It's a good tactic. So it works sometimes like a magic for some people. So do that, okay? Is the graduation application process different for a woman with a child? I don't think it's different. It's not. It can be. Everybody has the same application. No? It can be. Because you have a child does not mean that they will because you have a child. So we're on questions and response. So ask a question. So I'm going to attend this question that this person asks. So that's what we're working with. Please, is the graduation application process different for a woman with a child or pregnant woman? No, it's not. It's the same portal you are applying to. You are using the same portal you are applying, but you will state it if you are married. But I don't think they even ask if you have a child. But if you are married, you have to state that you are married. Put it there. Any other questions? This time for question and answer. Ask your questions before we go to the next thing. Questions about the interview phase that we have done. For those of you that will be, maybe it's possible you're going to be having an interview at the admission level before you get your admission letter, you know. So ask your questions before we move to the next thing. If you don't have questions, we move to the next thing without waste of time. After the admission, what next? You have got your admission letters. You have like 7 admission letters. You have like 5. You have like you have like 2, you have like 3. What then can you do? What then should I do if I have 5 admissions? If I have 4? It's another journey entirely. And here are the things that you need to consider. What kind of advisor are you going to have? Or did they put your advisor in your letter? If they put it, you need to research about your advisor. Even if you need to speak to them, if they add your advisor on your admission letter, I would say that speak to them. Schedule a virtual meeting with them. When they sent me my admission letter, they copied my advisors, my admission letter. I reached out to the 2 of them. I wanted to know them. And I bet you it was the best decision because they were helpful in my transition into America. Supportive financially, supportive, emotionally, everything, they were there. Even when visa, I was not getting dates. I was giving them updates. Yes, I carried them along when I was not even getting dates for my visa application. They were copying other admission. I'm not sure that there's nobody that know me in that further when I was coming to America because by the time I landed America and I went to school, the truth is that they could actually identify me. This one was it. Is that Mary? Because I've been sending emails back to back. I didn't speak to other people. I cannot lie to you because other people don't have response to what I'm looking for. I didn't go to Facebook or LinkedIn or chatting people and asking them. I didn't do that. I just had business with the school, with the two schools. That's what I did. I didn't have business with any other person. I didn't ask this person what will I do then. No. When I saw dates were not forthcoming, that the date I had at that time was 2026 in 2022. Imagine how 2026. Yes, it was 2026 date I saw. I just emailed Salvatore, which is the DSO officer, and then I gave him updates. Then he emailed another school, and they were giving him the same. He copied me in the email. He emailed another school to find out, is that the same experience their Nigerian students are having, And the man said yes, or the lady, or whoever was in charge. I don't know the person, but they sent me the email. They copied me in the email. And I kept checking. When I got dates, I told them that I've got dates. Told them the dates I was going for my interview. When I got my interview, I sent them email that I've got my dates, blah, blah, blah. I've got my visa approved, blah, blah, blah. And I gave them updates on the days that I'll be coming in. In fact, they prepared a place for me to stay for 2 days. And in the 2 days, because I was supposed to move to my house where I had got before leaving Nigeria. So you can get your house before you leave Nigeria. You don't need to go and be staying somebody 2 weeks, 3 weeks. I don't subscribe to that. Make provisions for all of these things that you need to do. Do them, do your research, do your homework well. They were ready to pay 2 weeks. If I was not in communication with them, if I've not been talking to them, if I've not been in touch with them, that opportunity might not be there. They were great people. My advisors were great people. They are great people still. So work in hand with these people. Make sure you are checking out information out there. Reach out to the 3 people rather that you need when your admission is out and everything. The 3 most important people. You see your advisor. The first person is your program coordinator, the program coordinator of your course. Number 1, that's the number 1 person. Prioritize that person. It's very important. And the way you send your email will determine how they'll be responsive to you or they'll be nonchalant. That's the truth. Tone, language, style is important. The second person is your advisor. The second person is your DSO, International Office of International Student, is the second. It's very important because they are the ones that are dealing with immigration. They can even give you letters. It can go to your head that they can give you a letter for. Yeah, you think it's not possible. It's possible. I've heard people that have gotten letters from their DSO and go for their visa interview. Yes. There's nothing that is not possible. Other people shared their experience with the DSO. It was not the same like mine. I'm telling you honest truth. Two people that came to Fordham, they were law students, they came for LLM. They told me that Salvatore don't need to respond to their emails, that the way they sent me a screenshot of his response to them, the language. It was like hostile. But it wasn't like that to me. So we have different experience based on same person. Depending on how you approach them, on how you have carried these people. You cannot not carry somebody along from the day of your admission and everything. And after admission, 3 months or 2 months, because August, that's when you're coming. Your admission letter since February. That's when you really have admission letter. And in August, you now start disturbing them. You think that you too, if somebody comes and do that to you, like back to back, what will you do? Think about these things. So program your mind. Be strategic about these things. Yeah, if you know what you want, you have to be strategic. Okay. So these are basic things you need to know, that after the admission, what are the things I need to look out for? Do the school have health insurance policy? Is their health insurance policy great? Is it accessible for international students? I put it that way, international student, because you are an international student. Do they have dental? Does it come with, does the admission letter come with GA ship? If it comes with funding, is it automated? How is life in the city where you are going to? How is life in the city where you are going to? So you want to get your hands on that. You want to ask yourself that. And the funding and financial support, cost of living, is very important. Don't be like me. When I was coming to US, I didn't know that my school was in New York. That's why I'm telling you these things, that research is important. So you need to know how much are they willing to give for moving. Do they have money for moving, relocation? If they don't have, can you source for your relocation money, while definitely they're going to be paying. How much is the stipend? Fordham pays over $36,000 for stipend in 9 months. So think about how much your school is going to pay. And it's in New York City. Remember, the cost of living is high, but the money they pay is commensurate, unlike some schools. Even if the father is paying at 6,000 in 9 months, and you're living in NYC, you're living in city, you're not living in New Jersey, you will still save money and you will still pay your rent. Yes, I'm telling you facts. How much is rent? Rent is over like 1,800, 1,500, depending on if you are sharing an apartment, $1,000. You can even get 700 some places. Maybe they are far away from school. So you will still save. Compared to somebody who is staying in Georgia Southern and they are paying them $700 because their stipend prorated for 9 months is like 8,000. So they're paying them $700 every month. And somebody that is receiving 2,900 or so, or 3,000 every month. It's not the same thing. That person they're paying 700, their rent is around 400, 500. They can barely survive on that. Yeah, they can barely survive on that. For someone who even stay in city and still pay that, the highest you can pay as a student, if you are very contacted, I'm telling you, I know people who are living in $850 house, shared apartments and what have you, and it's comfortable for them. Some people are staying in not a studio and they're paying 1,500. If you pay 1,500, save out of the money, you will still save money, you will still eat food. So all these things that you need to consider, cost of living is important. Don't go and stay in New York City when the stipend is not high. I cannot subscribe to that. If the stipend is not okay, so that's why you need to consider other, like someone that has 5 admissions from schools. For example, another school is giving you that at 6,000 and is in Georgia. Why will you come to New York if you have sense? You can't. What are you looking for in New York, Seth? I know you may say you have many opportunities in New York. That's what will come to your mind. But if I were to be in that shoes, I will go to Georgia Southern. If they are paying it at 6,000 in 9 months, or more after the program, we'll go see the opportunity. We'll go, they arrange those things. Is there because you will be very okay, and it will give you up your time to save and to do good things with your money. You can decide to do other programs. You can decide to apply to extend your stay. Do things like even when you save money, you're going to use your money to find the right visa to make you stay back in the US because you're saving more. So these are the things you need to consider. Don't go to a place because it's a big city. I've given you I've done a backward reference to this now. I said, if you're earning 36,000, if Georgia Southern is going to pay you 36,000, whereas New York, they're not paying you up to 36,000, they're paying you like 20,000 in 9 months. Why will you go to New York? Why won't you go to Georgia Southern? Because the pay is better and they have a lot of things there included in the offer, especially if dental insurance and all of those things are involved. In fact, Columbia University, New York University, they give family relocation money. Yeah, Columbia gives family relocation money for those who have family, and they pay up to 40,000. Is in New York here. So for them, it's still small. Columbia pay up to 40, I think 42 or 43,000 US dollars as stipend. And they also give relocation fee, spousal, whatever. So you want to consider all these things if you have a family. Even if you don't have a family, think about the things that are very important to you that can make you. Then career-wise, how is the school helping you build your career? How is it helping you? Like, do they help you get internships or do they give you access to internship? When you finish the program, do they create programs like Fordham does? I know other schools, they do that, workshop and what have you. They even create an avenue where a professional listing where you can learn career opportunities. Yes. Think about that. Think about how their students are also being linked up for professional career. I mean, getting jobs outside after their program. So that's what you want to do. That's what career placement, networking opportunities. You think about those things in that regard. We've talked about this mentorship. You need good support. It's very important. So you need support too. It's not easy to stay in another country other than your home country. I will tell you the honest truth. It's not easy to stay in a place that is other than your home country. So you need support, you need collaborate, you need to build community, you need to network, which I'm still struggling with building community because I'm not somebody who is very outgoing when it comes to community. Yeah. My community is outside my school, is in the social space. That's kind of community. I don't have physical community. Is wrong in the real sense. That's the honest truth. I don't have community. I have more of social community, which is in the internet. But you may not need that. You want to build physical community. You need internet community, but it's good. But you need physical community. Okay. So these are the things you need to do. You compare the offers side by side, the tuition, you can even talk to current students in that school. So how is it like? I know I used to be an ambassador for GSAS, and so a couple of students have reached out to me to ask me questions. What it's like to be at Fordham, that kind of. I give them my honest opinion, what they can do and how they can do better, or if it works for them. So these are the things you want to consider. So let's have questions and response before we move to the next slide, which has to do with visa application. That will do like 15 minutes and go to the research. Yeah. Questions and response. Okay, Zachary, please ask your question. Thank you.
Well, okay, thank you. My question is related to the just recent slide. It's about to reach out the professor that have interviewed you to just send him a message maybe after the interview. And due to the fact that we didn't have this session before, it's just now that I'm seeing it, and I have done my interview just 4 days ago. So do you think it makes sense to send him message now? I don't think it for
I
now
think you can,
to
if it's 4 days ago that
yeah
you did the interview,
4 days. It doesn't make sense, right?
I don't say it doesn't make sense. Even if it's 4 days ago, like you have just come back to your senses, at least you came back to your senses. That's the point. So
Okay.
don't say it doesn't make sense. It's better late than never. That's what I'll say.
Okay.
And that way also you put it on the spot, maybe to get a positive to get feedback from him on time too. Not necessarily positive feedback, but to also get feedback on time, because I'm not sure he has gotten back to you.
Yeah.
So you just thank him, just find a way, like you can start to good this thing. Go and brainstorm. Use
When
Copilot to brainstorm.
when we interact with him by that moment is really, joyful because instead for me, I had that the interview is going to last for 15 minutes, but we end up spending getting to 26 minutes while discussing and even joking and the rest of the things. So just like
One of the
that.
things you want to also work on, if you're going to reply him now, if you're going to write in, what were the things that you discussed? You can say, this is what I would do. Be smart. You'll be like, think about the things that you discussed. You have taken enough, after our interview, dear Professor, I hope this emails find you well, and I hope you're doing it. I just wanted to say, to express my heart of gratefulness to whatever you've done. From the last meeting that we met, I've been sat over this in the last 3 days to think, to reflect about my discussion with you. I have reflect on the things that you discussed with me, and then thank him afterwards.
Okay. Thank you.
It took you 3 days to go and reflect, baby. That's what it took you. It took you 3 days to go and reflect.
I understand.
Yeah, it took you 3
Thank
days
you.
to reflect. So you think about it, you've gone, you sat down, and you realize that this is how they interview. You reflected. It's a reflection you add. It took you 3 to 4 days to reflect. So if it takes you 3 days to 4 days to reflect, that's a good one.
Okay.
Aminat. I'm listening. Aminat Ganiyu. She raised her hand and she's not saying anything. Aminat, are you still here? Your hand is raised. Any other person with any other question? If no, we move. Aminat already said that your hand is raised, so we say you should. Okay, Dolamu Oludari.
Yeah, good evening, ma. Thank you
Mhm.
for like the session so far. So I wanted to speak. I had an interview with a professor that was last 2 weeks, Wednesday, and I sent a follow-up mail on Tuesday, this Tuesday, but I'm yet to get a response. Though the interview went well, and she was like, I can send her a follow-up mail if I don't hear from her. So I don't know, does that?
So after the interview, did you send any email to him after the interview?
No, I did not. I did not.
You see what we are saying. So sometimes after the interview, you send it, that email you are sending after the interview, you are also using it to kind of stay connected to the person. So that if there's any need for you to send another email, you have established a connection, a relationship with that person. So it will not be difficult. Like, for example, if I finish this interview and I send email immediately or the next day to thank them about the interview, and after I didn't hear from them, like after 1 week or 2 weeks, it's easier for me to send a follow-up email, like be like, okay, it will not be like you are just batching on that person or you are just out there scouting for that position, that kind of thing. So I can say you could send him a follow-up email or her if you want to do that. I think you can do that.
All right, thank you.
I mean, not you're already unmuted.
Yes, thank you so much. Please, can you hear me?
Yes, perfectly.
Okay, thank you so much. Firstly, let me appreciate the section you have been giving us since yesterday. You really tried. At least it is well detailed. Thank you so much. I really appreciate your effort and time and the wisdom you put into this. Out of my question, at least I have up to 3.
Okay.
Previously, although I have interest in, I don't want to deviate from my subject, that's economics. I studied economics. So as time goes on, I realized that I have much interest in agricultural economics. And although I don't want to just dwell in that part because I think it's in line with also selecting economics as a plain course. So now, if I'm applying to maybe the school are offering applied economics, that is under we have a subject of agricultural economics, and some schools are not offering that course. They rather offer only economics without specialization. But under it, they have development economics or international economics and trade something. And my interests are alike like that. How do I position myself within this agricultural economics and still applying to other schools in only economics, but they have my specialization? Okay.
So that's the first question, Abby.
Yes.
So let me take this first question. So now, what I will say, and I don't know if you were here yesterday, one of the things I said yesterday is that every application must have a different SOP. It means that you have a lot of work to do. Yes, you have a lot, huge work to do. And the huge work is that you are creating a separate SOP that matches the agricultural economics. You are creating another SOP that matches the international economics because they are not the same thing. They have economics embedded in them, but this connection that they have, this one is agriculture. So there's something unique that you're looking forward to in the agricultural economics. And there's something unique they're looking at in the international economics, maybe at the international level, at the world level, something like that. So they are 2 different things. So it means that you are creating 3 SOPs at least for, if you have 3 SOPs or 4 that cuts across these different, so you can easily say, okay, in this school now, like, you will just know that this is the SOP you are using for any school that has agricultural economics.
Okay.
Any school that has economics, this is the one you are using for it. Any school that has another kind of business, whatever, or anything, this is the SOP you are using for it. So you cannot go and be using agricultural economics SOP for international. No, you can't do that.
Okay.
You have to create at least, if there are 3 different sub themes that you are looking forward to work in or work with, create at least 3 or 4 SOPs that will cut across them. That's that you cannot have the same response because you have intentionally carved your research interests. You have so you get admission from action. It's okay if you get admission for international economics, it's okay. Now it's now up to you to say, okay, I have international economics, I have admission. Which one is now the one gone that I really want? You will now go for the one you want finally. So that's the thing. If it's the educational economics that is your major interest, then you just leave other people and go for that one. But make sure you are getting 3 different SOP for them.
Okay, thank you.
Welcome. So, any other question? Is it somebody said Jerome Priest said, if a professor or a program coordinator tells you that he looks forward reading your application, do you need to send the email after submission after submitting your application? And how do you go about it? You can do it after you've submitted. I think it's a good one. If you have submitted, you can just create, but I think you should, when you have submitted, you create the email like, dear sir or dear professor, it was nice having a chat with you or over the Zoom last time, or maybe in our previous, secret to our previous email. You can even make a reference to your previous email, secret to our previous email. I have had the chance to be able to submit my application at the university, and I've also done this, and I hope you can take a look at, like, you just look as if you're giving the person a pre-information of what you have done, and then you can tell them you've submitted and you don't mind them. I mean, based on what the person has said, because you are holding them by their words, don't forget. So that's what you are going to be doing, like based on what the last discussion you had. You finally submitted, and you just it's thoughtful of you to let them know that you finally turned in the application for that particular program in their school. Okay, so that's possibly what you can do. Can we make more than one application in different research areas in the same school? In the same school, you can do it though. It's possible. It's not like it's not possible. It's possible because it's the same school but different faculty. That's what you know. The same school or different faculty. This different team or teams are the one considering your application. So we're going to move to the next thing. That's that about that. I think I should come back to this visa, this thing. Let me go to the research. I'll come back to this because some people had deniers in their visa, and that's why I put this visa thing here. Let's go to research. I'll come back to that. So, basis of research, finding and evaluating sources, plagiarism, and citation. This was one of the things that we addressed yesterday. It was not in our topic yesterday, but some people kept asking questions around this area. And I'm like, let's talk about research. When you hear the word research, what comes to your mind? Every one of you is going to do a research. Take it or leave it. Even if you are going for a master's degree, you are going for a PhD, you are definitely going to do a research. Either you're writing a term paper, you're writing a seminar paper, you're writing a published article, you're writing a paper you want to be published. You're doing a research indirectly, whether you're in the humanities. Humanities, they do research, but they don't know. Some people feel like because it's easier for them they feel like because they are not in the lab, so they are not doing research, like the notation of the research, the ideology behind the research that they have in their mind, the ideas. So it's not like that. So now, where do you find what is research to you? How do you define research? How do you define research? What is research to you? If somebody asks you what is research, what do you tell them? How do you define research? How do you define research? If somebody asks you what is research, and leave what we have here on our screen. If somebody asks you what is research, what comes to your mind? When somebody asks you, peace.
Okay, good evening, everyone. For me, research, from the simple meaning, read and search, to find again and again. So research simply means the act of certain questions or issues again and again, over and over. Thank you.
I like the phrase that, the differentialization that you give to the word re and search. That means you redo something. You rescout, you recomb for it. Okay, lessons for Dolamo.
Yeah, okay. So what comes to my mind when I hear research is in summary, making discovery. That's what comes to my mind.
Rediscovery or discovery.
Yes.
Yeah, rediscovery or discovery, because you can discover something and you can still rediscover something that has been before but has been lost, or the attention is not gaining so much attention as it should give. And why am I asking these things? Because oftentimes people think that when we talk about research, it has to be something totally new. And that's why I said I like what our first responder said. It's not just you, like it's not just something new entirely. He said it clearly, like you can keep re-involving something. Some things don't have attention today, doesn't mean that they can have attention tomorrow. So it's either you are filling a gap or you are you're making something to be elongated, a continuity in that thing. So think about what you are doing currently. I like to tell my students when I'm teaching in class here, like each time I tell them stuff, I say apply it to what you are doing currently. Now, as we are here today, a lot of you have things ongoing. And I made mention of something yesterday that if you did a good job during your undergraduates, you can revisit it and rework it. Yes, you can revisit and rework it. You can spot a gap in what you did earlier and bring up something entirely new from it. Or you can continue it if it's worth it. So these are the things you need to have at the back of your mind. So don't discard the original works that you have done because you think they are not good enough, but because you have not taken a critical eye at them, that's why you feel like they are not good enough. So when you want to examine your research sources, how do you go about it? It's important that you collect facts. And when you collect facts, you need to synthesize them. You need to consider the context in which these facts are being generated. Is there an ongoing debate about your research? Today, there is something that we are talking about. We've been talking about what do you think that in all of the things we've been talking about, there's something I mentioned yesterday, and I talked about AI is one of them, those people that are doing cybersecurity. And AI keeps coming up in our discourses, whether you like it or not. We cannot but talk about them. We talk about them in academics. We talk about them in social. Everywhere you talk about AI. It's an ongoing debate as well. But you have to look for something unique that you want to come up with in that regard, if that's something you're interested in. Then how do you collect your data? How do you collect the data that you need? If you collect the data, how do you then synthesize that data that you need, that you have collected? So collection of data, I am aware that a lot of time people back home don't have access to online this thing, the way they can collect. There are a lot of database online. And some of them you may not be able to access them. Some of them you can access them. If any one of you finished from the University of Ibadan, I think you should have access to research and it's not ResearchGate. What's the name of this thing? Hey, JSTOR. JSTOR is another place. A lot of people have access to JSTOR. JSTOR, I think Ibadan has a code that they give. Because when I was in Ibadan in my master's, our professor gave us the password and whatever, because it's a paid web. Yeah. It's not everybody that can have access to it if you don't have subscription or something. So the university, I think, paid for it. Most university abroad, they have a lot of access given to them. My school have a lot of access. Oxford, they have access to all of this, their website, journal, Oxford Press, and what have you, free access, Project Muse, all of them. So they have a lot of access. I don't know how much you can have access to that from Nigeria, but I do know that you can do a simple Google search and find out those ones that you can have access to so that you can begin to find a way to collect raw, not physical data now, some of the things, secondary sources that you would need to back up whatever you want to work on. That may be something you want to do after the class, so that if you don't have a publication, the reason why I'm talking about research now is good you have an idea of what research, for those of you that have not done research in a long time, you begin to think about what kind of things that you want to do in your SOP, what kind of research interests you want to come up with that is unique. If you don't read about secondary sources, how will you know the gap you want to fill? It's not about creating new things. There are some things that have already been created that people don't know about. How can you bring them to be known since the people don't know about them. Not every time you keep creating new things and then you dump it. Have you seen where they used to drop our projects? You see some people, they would dump all those projects somewhere. And it's gone like that. So the basic things you want to do first, what kind of topic do you have? Now, how do you narrow down your topic? I'll tell you one way that you can narrow down your topic. And the scope is how you narrow it down. For example, if you know that your topic is too wide, how do you even know that your topic is wide? Of course, depending on your area of, your level. If you're an undergrad, for example, you definitely don't want to go and be looking for a research that covers a whole community. You want to pick, you want to do sampling, you want to pick you want to do random sampling. That's what you probably want to do. You cannot do it because that's the large project to be done, except you're going for a dissertation, a PhD. That's when you can, even that PhD self, you want to even streamline that thing so that you can be able to cover a lot within the little. So narrowing it down, being specific, narrowing down your research interest to a smaller part can be something you want to do. Does it answer the questions that you propose? What are the questions you are proposing? Because based on your question, based on your hypothesis, that's where you will know if your research is smart, is measurable, is specific, is time-bound. Can you complete it within the 4 years of the program or 5 years of the program? Have you ever thought about that? Or you just want to start something that you cannot finish? So that's one way you need to think about when you're narrowing down your topic. Finding and evaluating. So what kind of sources are you using? Where are you getting your sources from? I don't know much about libraries in Nigeria. When I was in Nigeria, I used to go to library in, what's the name of this? Mineducafe library in UI. I only go there to go and do my assignment. I don't used to go there to go and be looking for textbooks. That's the truth. Or this thing. I don't used to use it that way. I know some people know how to do such, and maybe they find their resources. Most of the resources that I use for my pieces, I got them online. I used to go to library, but that's not what I use library to do. I used to go and sit down quietly and work and do my work. Maybe I can get a textbook, probably, but not really. There was a day I went to look for one. I didn't see half of the things I was looking for. So I got that I can do them online. The library is another place for you to visit if you're in Nigeria. You can have access. The library has millions of books, textbooks. You will be surprised some very expensive textbooks are in the library. You can get access to them. They will help you. When it comes to plagiarism, it's a no thing in America. In fact, your work, when you submit your work, is scanned. On the blackboard, I turn plagiarism on the blackboard that my students, when they upload their stuff, is automatically goes and do the job and shows the number of, and they say if a work has over 50% or 40, I don't know in America, it's considered a plagiarized work, you know. So you want to guard against plagiarism. Don't be doing copy and paste. And the number of, you don't need quotes. So much quotes can make your work to be plagiarized because it also increases the index number of plagiarism. When you quote a lot, can't you even summarize the quotes? That's the way to guide against plagiarism. Summarize the quotes, paraphrase, instead of interjecting with quotations here and there. Citing your sources. Yesterday, I shared Purdue with us. That's another place where you can do the search for where you can cite your works. I know that some science, this thing, they may have their own. I don't know. Probably, maybe Purdue may not have the answers to that question. But you can do a simple say, what is the best citing sources for STEM-related program? That's one of the things I say you can use ChatGPT to do, or Copilot. It's not to go and help you write. It's to brainstorm on new ideas. So those are the things you can use them to do. Even though I want to write emails to professor, you can get prompts from Copilots, about them. Don't let it write it for you. I repeat, you can get prompt of how to structure your emails first, because it's language you're working on. And it has to appeal to the right audience, which is the professor you're speaking to. So step one, they will talk about you developing a research question. This, let's assume this is a topic. I've explained this, but this is a sample of something that I crafted. You have Barack Obama, first Black president, Asian Americans model. This is like a sample of what we're looking at. These are the sampled topics. Now we want to narrow it down. We want to narrow down this Hollywood casting reps. We want to narrow these things down. So we'll pick these ones, and then we'll look at the concepts that these things can describe. These are the basic concepts that you may probably be talking about. You can talk about blackface, you can talk about this, you can talk about this. But once you are able to narrow down, so in your own research interest, you can have a huge structure of sentences, but you need to find a way that it can be brought down to a more specified theme or topic. I think for me, what I do most of the time and I advise people to do is that focus on the smaller units. The better, the more specific your research interest is, the better it is for you and for the people that are considering you. If it's not specific, and unique to you, it can create a lot of problem. It can create a lot of problems. So you want to be more specific in anything you're doing. You focus on the smaller units, ask questions, let your hypothesis guide you in terms of the things you want to do. And that way you can easily narrow down your question. This could be a very large theme, a large research for somebody who is starting newly. It can be a smaller unit that you want to focus on. Just focus on. When you say rap music, let's assume that we are considering rap music. What kind of rap music are we considering? Is it the local genre? Is it this? Is it so? You actually, so if you say rap music, not just rap music can be. Is it Afro rap music? Is it American rap music? Is it not just, so bringing it down maybe to Afro rap music. If it's Afro rap, is it Nigerian rap music? You see what I'm saying? So cutting down. Not just rap music, but bringing it smaller. Is it Afro? Which is Afro? They're talking about the countries, African continents. How do you want to do that kind of research? It's too huge. Maybe Nigerian rap music might be precise. Or in Nigerian rap, Igbo Nigerian rap music. Yoruba Nigerian rap music, the likes of Bado and all of them. So that's what we're saying. So narrowing down your topic is very crucial. Don't think that if your research is huge, is good, it sells. No. So these are the kinds of questions you want to consider. These are things I've talked about, hypothesize, I've said it. But you want to explore this from topic to research questions. You want to ask open-ended questions. How, the why, what, are they answering it? Is it clear? Is your research clear enough? Is your question relatable to what you're working on? Oh, they are not bold. I don't know why. I don't know if it's from your own end. I don't even need to zoom out. So you need to ask yourself that questions. After you've come up with a question, consider the part your answers might take. If you're making an argument, what will it say? Why does your argument matter? Why is it important? Why should we even listen to you? Why should we even bring out time to even think about your research interests? How is it challenging other people's research interests? What's making it unique? What kind of sources are you going to be using to support your argument? Are there funding fathers in your area of specialization that have done something similar to what you're doing? That may be a cue to do what you want to do. If there are funding fathers, if there is, for example, I did something on epigenetics. It's basically biology, but I brought it into literature. You want to hook up something. You want to hold on to some popular people that have spoken about that thing, it can be a clue that you need for your research to be heard, or for something to be tangible, for something. I mean, if this popular person has said this thing about this work, how then is it important? You want to find out your sources. What kind of sources? Your primary sources. Where can you get your primary sources? Let me ask this question for those people who are science related. Where do you get your sources from? Your primary sources now. Where do you get your primary sources from? How do you even know that this thing is a primary source? What makes it a primary source? Let me ask that question. How do you differentiate between primary source and secondary sources? I throw the question out to you. What is a primary source? What is a secondary source? How do you know that this is actually a primary source and this is a secondary source? What makes you think that this is a primary source or secondary source? Okay, peace.
Okay, I don't know. You said the question is it for those in science line or just for
anybody can answer if you want.
Okay. Talking about primary and secondary source or sources. For primary is the original first-hand information gathered, in the course of carrying out your research. It could be in form of interviews, focus group discussions, what is it called? This other one, they give people paper to fill, yes or no? I'm trying to remember.
You have given, those are questionnaires you mean, right?
Yes, a questionnaire. So whatever information gathered, originally from the experts in that field, could actually come under primary. Why secondary is works of others, what has already been done in that field, but you gather them and try to analyze them, then infusing them into your own work.
Thank you. Any other person? I don't think any other. I think the person that raised their hand. Thank you. That's a good one. But the only thing I just wanted to add is that your primary sources might not necessarily be from the experts. It might be from those people that have been affected or those people that you want to use to experiment. That's for those in science. So
Exactly.
So for those in non-STEM related programs, like you rightly said, it could be you gathering questions, like interview, focused group, like you call it. Yeah, it could be that way. It could be just like I am doing now. Somebody can use this our ongoing session to do a primary source for their research. So it could be something that we talked about, like what is happening right now. Somebody wants to work on how webinar that has to do with he can decide to watch this video. That will be the person's primary data to do that research. The secondary source, like you have rightly said, yes, things that are supporting or against. It doesn't have to support. It can be against. It can be an opposing view, because you need an opposing view. You can need an opposing view to buttress the reason why your research is relevant. So your secondary sources are now from the experts in the field. Then you can find them in journals. You can find them in textbooks, written textbooks. You can even find them for those people that are doing humanities, maybe in literature or what have you. You can still find your secondary sources in some related literary text, so long it's not the major literary text you're using to analyze your work. You can get your secondary source from open databases. Think about these things. But for your primary source, you have to sort. Like the word, you have to go and scout for them. You need to look for them, wherever they may be. For those who are in social sciences, maybe you're working on something that has to do with bank or something like that, you might have to visit some of these places and present some things to them and they have them feel. My friend that is in social work was working on domestic violence and trauma. She had to interview, just like he said, she had to interview people who are affected, who have been violated, in Lagos. She traveled down to Nigeria to do that because her research is based on Nigeria. She traveled down to Nigeria, went to Lagos State and domestic violence, whatever, what they have there. And then they helped her to gather some people and she did a focused interview with them. And that's our primary source. those science related, they work their own in lab. It can be rats, it can be anything, I don't know. Whatever, that could be your primary source. So think about the things that it could be a chemical that you're working with, I don't know. Whatever thing that you think that is the thing you want to experiment on that will make you get to your final output. That's your primary source. What you're using to support your argument, to buttress your point, or the works that you're doing, or the works of other people that they have done related to your field, that's your secondary source. How to search efficiently. You use a library. I mentioned this earlier. I don't know how to use the library. I used to go to the library, but I think people do. If you have a good public, there are public library in Nigeria, but I don't know how effective they are. If you can find one and you feel like they have what you need, you can explore them. Bibliographies, interviews, survey, opinions. These are places that you can get your sources from. This one is our school has an online library, so we can just visit it, but I don't think you can have access to it because you will need a password to do that, you know. So using web, a lot of time, it might be difficult to use some websites if you don't have access to them. If it's important to you, you can get like a subscribe access if you want and move from there. Okay. There are also some keywords. For example, I think a lot of people use their own keywords to search for sources online. Your keywords might not work. You might want to look for keywords that are associated with what you are doing. That can work for you, okay? And that way you can easily get, so for someone that is doing something and then you just type in their own exact topic, you might not get that thing. But so think about other keywords that are similar to what you are doing that can help your work better. So that way you can do your research. Hopefully it gives you a better result in what you're doing. So when you want to evaluate your sources, you can do this CRAP test, which we figure out like this. This is what I mean, the CRAP test. Currency, how current is what you are working on? How relevant is it? Who is talking about it? Or who has authority over it? Like I said, I mentioned something, I said, you want, there are some popular people that will speak about a thing in your research interest or where you are interested, that people will respect their views and say, oh, this person is good. This person is an authority in this thing. So if you follow this CRAP test, what we call CRAP test, the currency, that is how current the work is, how relevant, how we're talking about AI. AI is something that is going on current. So those people who are in cybersecurity, they can't but talk about it. So it's a current topic that is trending. Is it relevant? Of course, it's relevant, but the area you are trying to explore, is it relevant as well? What authorities, who are the people who are spoken about this area, not just AI, but the area that you are interested in? How accurate are they in their this thing? And what were the purpose? Was it purposeful? Was the results, what's the outcome? And what purpose did it do to them? Did it do to the society? It has to be relevant to the things that we are talking about. I mean, if you pick a particular topic. So think about this, use the CRAP test, the CRAP word, use it to restructure your research interests, and then also to evaluate your sources that you will be working with. Your sources, especially the authority part, I think you need a strong hold on that, and how relevant that can be for you. With that, you can begin to think if truly this research is for me or it's not for me. Somebody wanted to ask a question. Aminat, you can ask your question, because I don't think I have a slide for question answer here, so that I can quickly run to the one on visa before 2 o'clock. Okay, ask your question. I think we've talked about plagiarism. Ask your question, Aminat. Practically did this, so you can quote, I've talked about this, which I think I don't really want to dwell on. So I think we've talked about plagiarism, I've talked about using the exhaust of resources. I've talked about not just, quote, 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 quote every time. So one thing that you want to look at okay.
Sorry, please. I just use myself.
Okay.
Can I go ahead?
Yeah, you can go ahead. Ask your question.
Okay. Thank you so much. During your section, you've answered one of the questions I'm about to ask. That can you, during your research or during your grad program, can you go to on the field research? Like I can say, the places I want to do research is part of the sub-Saharan Africa. Can I travel there? Will they grant me the access to go there and do what I want, like primary focus research? Yes, that's one of the questions. But you've answered it. That you have one of your friends. You went to do divorce something in Lagos and domestic violence. So that answers my question. The other one, if you are planning to embark on a research in which, recently they've been talking about what are the best practice for climate change, like part of SDG goals for 2030 and maybe beyond. So can you write a research about that that is going to impact this and is going to publicize, and they are going to like a form of an advance or advice for policymakers? I don't know if someone can draft or have interest in such research. I don't know if you get the kind of thing.
Now, how will you know that people can have interest? Does it answer these questions? Does it go in line? When you ask yourself, see, doing a research can be very tedious, but you need to sit up and find out from when we talk about hypotheses, you creating questions. If you can sit down, look at the topic that before you and the primary focus that you want to focus on. Ask questions. If they tick all those questions that you have, and it cuts across these things that we're talking about. And also remember, I mentioned something about SMART, being specific, measurable, time bound, accurate, and I think is it reasonable? I don't know if that's the word for the R. If it cuts across those things, if your research can answer those things properly, and within that time, you're not going to the sub-Saharan African, you want to do that. What particular place do you want to go to do that thing? How is it relevant? What problem is that research going to solve? What additional knowledge is it going to give the community or the academic field that you are carrying out the research in? If you have right answers to those questions, then it's a researchable topic. That means it's relevant. But if you don't have, it all depends on you. So you need to find out the purpose, your research, of your interest. So if it's purposeful, it's gonna work out. It's gonna be researchable. But if it's not, if the time the time band is not, it's gonna take you a lot of time. That means it's not a research. At that moment, you can't do that research. It may be something you want to do in a long time. Some researches are done in a long time that you can't do them even within 2, 3 years, 4 years. So you need to place them in this format, in the SMART goal format and in the crack test format. So that can help you articulate your voice better. Okay? Thank you. Any other person relevant? Thank you. Onyesoro. Because I was thinking about that. So relevant. So how relevant is it? You just want to ask yourself. So when we talk about plagiarism, which I talked about, a lot of time, this part is one that I will keep saying, because you see, because many people are relying on ChatGPT. You see this thing. There are some fields, people who are in cybersecurity, I don't think they have problem with ChatGPT, because I know a couple of friends that did some researches and did their masters, and currently they're doing they don't have, because that's their area, that they do anything they want to do. This thing, some of them don't have rules against using GPT to do their work or they don't have, but there are some fields that it's a flag. For example, you can't be in humanities. Precisely, you can't be doing literature or in English. You'll be using ChatGPT to write everything. What are you not doing? Why are you doing the program? It's writing. The program is supposed to test your writing ability. It can't work that way. So you want to look at, even if you're going to submit for journals, you need to ask yourself, is the journal going to be accepting ChatGPT generated work? Recently, I submitted one of my articles to SRM University in India. The thing they did first, I bet you, was putting my work in plagiarism check and ChatGPT. They sent me a feedback that they will continue, that in their words, congratulations, your work passed, blah, 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 and we'll continue with the next phase. That is even before they will consider my work for review. Imagine if I had used ChatGPT to go and be restructuring my words. The painful thing about ChatGPT, using them to restructure things, is that when you use them, even though they are written your words and you use them to restructure, when they put it in the machine, it's going to say whether it's humanly written. And sometimes it's not accurate. Those people don't even know of a truth. There are some works that are even humanly generated that they put on ChatGPT, and they tell them that somebody gave a testimony like that in my office and was like, they say it's written by ChatGPT, and the woman says it's not true, that the thing is not written by ChatGPT. So sometimes it can be erroneous. That's why they said it's redundant. So it can work that way. But if you know within you that you use it and they now write back to you and tell you that you use ChatGPT, how will you feel? That's something that would have been a good opportunity for you to explore your work, to take your career, to advance it advance it for that. They are flagging it because of plagiarism and because of ChatGPT. Oftentimes, people plagiarize, they don't know that they are plagiarizing. I said it's summarize the author's words, but you need to reference the author. You can't just summarize and you will not reference them. That's thief. That's a theft. That's an act of theft that you have done. You summarize another person's idea, own it as your own idea. You are stealing. You're not doing the academic work. When you summarize people's idea, give them reference them, because they are the owner of the idea. You can't summarize other people's idea as your own. It's also plagiarism. Why I will always often tell people to paraphrase and summarize often than quote, that when you quote more, when they put it in this thing, that one automatically shows that, because that quote, it will just highlight it. If you're using tone, it just highlight it automatically. But when you paraphrase, it doesn't even highlight it automatically. But you are giving the due diligence reference to somebody that owns the work, that this is their work. That's kind of the thing that you are doing. So you are being an authentic and an honest academic. That's what you are doing. So it is good that you walk yourself around these simple etiquettes in your research, especially for those of you who will be submitting sample writings. Take a critical look at your sample writing. Make sure you're using the right format. Make sure you are citing your sources correctly. Make sure you are using the right citation format. I've told you, I shared Purdue. They have Chicago, they have Alpha, they have MLA. Check out those things and figure out the one that works out for you. If it's going to be okay, you just do it. You just use it and do your research. And I hope that helps you enough on the issue of, this is AI generated policy, which we don't really need to do alone. But this source can help you. One of the things about using AI, some people don't even revise what they do with AI. They just copy it and feel like, what if you are writing the paragraphs already and you use ChatGPT to correct grammatical? And then you can correct your grammatical errors, but don't give it, no. This question, let me ask you this question before you ask me, let me get clarification. What if you have written the paragraphs already and you see ChatGPT and you use ChatGPT to correct grammatical errors just as you would with the Grammarly? Is that okay? Now, how did you use ChatGPT to correct the errors? Did you upload your materials on ChatGPT to correct the errors? That's the question I want to ask the person that dropped that comment. Tell me, and I'll tell you my response. Did you upload your materials on ChatGPT to help you correct the errors? Or did you follow prompts? Grammarly, you follow prompts most of the time. It tell you, you underline. So if you upload, you're not the one that wrote the work. ChatGPT is the one that wrote the work, because you uploaded the work. ChatGPT is going to do the deep cleansing and bring it out. And when that work is put on ChatGPT to figure out if is AI generated. It's going to write 100% AI generated, or sometimes 60, 90% AI generated. That's what it's going to give. Try it and see it. Your effort will just be useless. That you have done the work, but ChatGPT will make your effort useless because it will not recognize the human thing that you have done. So if you're using it to prompt correction, it's a different thing. There are two different things that it's suggesting to you. Maybe you say you say there was a girl, and he said you underline it and say no, say they are girls. That is different because you are still doing it. You are typing, you're doing it, you're correcting it. It's not the same thing that like when you put it and then it restructures it and gives you back and you download it. It has gone through a lot of processing. You need to think about these things. Be careful the way you use ChatGPT. Use it to revise, brainstorm, like I always tell, and that's the thing. Revise your work using ChatGPT. And the funny thing about ChatGPT is that it stores your data. If you are using ChatGPT, that is not, if you're using like Copilot in my school is Copilot. Yes, I think Copilot, Google Bard, my school has a license to it. So it cannot share our data outside the Fordham community. It's only encrypted in the school, this thing. For many people out there, they are using it, it's sharing your data. It shares your data, it does all kinds of stuff with your data out there because it's not encrypted. It's not solely for that domain. But what I will leave you with today is that if you put your work on ChatGPT, you upload it and it revises it and brings it out. It has changed the tone. It has changed how it has changed the intensity of your work, by the way. It might not really change your tone automatically, everything. Your voice will still be there, but it has also changed the authenticity of your work. Zachary, let's have your question.
Yes, my question is based on this explanation that you have just made now. I drafted a statement of purpose myself. I sit down, I spend like 5 days while drafting it. But at the end of the day, after I drafted it, then I said, okay, let me just go and check for the grammar error, and I go directly to the Grammarly. And at the end of the day, after I made use of Grammarly and do the correction somewhere it said I must pay for it, and I just stay where I can do it for free. After that, I go and paste it on, there is an AI checker. So when I went there and paste it there, it just showed me that it is AI work. I say,
Generated.
all these things that I have done for 5 days, and I just uploaded it to the Grammarly just to
Don't
make some
upload.
correction. Then after all,
Don't ever upload if you know that you want your work not to be flagged as AI generated or highlighted or what have you. I would say that if your Grammarly is good, but turn on Grammarly, you can turn on the setting. So as you are typing, it's giving you suggestions if it's Grammarly you want to work on, not your ID. There are two different things. It's Grammarly on my desktop because I have Grammarly on my desktop. So it's something because I use Grammarly. So that's what I'm speaking from business experience. Grammarly will give you suggestions and say, okay, these things you have written, that suggestion is giving you. It's suggesting to you. It's not going to change. But this one you upload and then you click and say, there's something you say, you will now say submit. It will now do the work and now produce it and you will now download. It's going to tell you you didn't do the work. It's going to give you the percentages of the work done. So, because it's going to change a lot of structures in your work, actually. Mokamiyo Olawale.
Yes, good evening, everyone. It's been a great session. I really enjoyed the session this evening. So I was the one that actually dropped the first question about using ChatGPT. So what I'm saying, what I was trying to say there is not uploading the file itself. It's probably like copying a paragraph. So I'll
It's
just
still the
prompt it.
same thing now. You copy the paragraph. It's still the same thing. You did not upload the document.
My question now is, because I had similar experience with what Zachary said regarding Grammarly. So what I do sometimes is I won't copy back from like directly what ChatGPT
Okay,
gives
you
back.
type.
I'll just tell it to highlight where the grammatical errors are and
Okay,
suggest possible.
right? Highlights,
Yeah,
right?
just highlight them. So I'll just do it manually myself.
That
So that,
manually is important. I repeat. If you want
okay.
to do it, like, because see, I don't know how the program, I'm not a computer wizard, so I don't know, but I know that once you copy from that space and put it,
Yes.
and they put it there, I can bet my life on it that it's going to show that it's generated by the machine. It's not going to say that you wrote it humanly.
Right.
It's not going to, it's going to even give statistics, a number of words that were generated by the machine. Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
So we've talked about citations yesterday. We talked about the different formats, the Purdue. This is something that you have to check out on Purdue, which I gave out yesterday, so that we can go back to, let's go back to the visa proper now. Let me talk about that. That's what we left here. Okay. So let's talk about visa, which is the last thing I'll just do, and then we can wrap it up today. So, because I asked in our questionnaire that some people complete to respond if they have been denied visa before and they have not been denied visa, and some people have been denied visa. So that's why this one is very important, because you are definitely going to get your admission. That's my prayer. And you get your funding, and then you go for visa interview. What if you've been denied visa before? How do you do it? What next? What should you do because you have a denier? And for those of you who don't have a denier, you still need to think about how to go about your visa interview. What are the basic things that you need to have at the back of your mind if you're going for your visa interview? These are the things that you need to have. You need your I-20, and you can only get your I-20. One, you must have accepted the admission offer. After you must have accepted the admission offer, they will give you what they call it, a form of eligibility something. There's a name the school calls it. You fill that form, you complete it, you send it back to school. The school will now give you your I-20. They will request for your passport. So make sure that you have your passport before you submit, you request for your I-20. For married women on this platform, if you have changed your name and you know that is your husband name that you are using in your application, make sure you have reflected that on your passport. I repeat, for married women, also, if you have changed your name, that is, if you have not changed your name, you don't have a problem. You just continue with the name you are using. But if you have changed your name to your husband's name and you're using your husband's name for your visa application, or you use your husband's name for your admission, because your name, the name on your admission letter is what that will be on your I-20. So if you have a passport that is your father's name, make sure you go and change it, so that everything will sync with the information on your admission letter, with the information on your I-20. I hope that part of name is cleared. You need a 2x2 passport photograph. You need your offer letter if you're going to go for your visa interview. And then you need in your head, because you're going to be completing the form, think about the time you want to go to the US. What time, when you're completing your DS-160 form, you need to fill it in and put your travel itinerary there. It's very important, okay? I'm going to call you Peace later. Let's see. I want to see where we have questions. So when we get to where we have questions and response, you probably ask your questions. So that's that about the forms that you need to have. I mean, the document you need to have on hand if you're going to start. Now, to submit your DS-160, to complete your visa, DS-160 is very important. You just type DS-160. Let me just do. It's simple. Don't go and meet any visa agent. DS-160. You just type DS-160. You click on this. It takes you straight to. It takes you straight here. You complete from Nigeria. We don't have to do all of this, but I just showed you what you would do, and that's it. It's not hard. It's not difficult. After there's 160 form, you need to schedule an appointment. I think they use a new one. They don't use a travel doc again. They are using is it ABT? I can't remember. Is it? I don't know if it's they use ABT now. I don't know the full this thing. You can also get it from the web page. If you go to embassy, if you go to the US web page, you follow the link. I think you can get it that way. Let me see. I hope I can. It's a new site that they are using. They started using that site recently, I just wanted to US visa application rather.
You have it.
Hmm?
AVITS.
AVITS. So that's the new this thing they are using. So just use that one. They are not using this again. So you need to have, this is it, AVTI. So this is the one they are using now. So you follow the instructions here and you get it set up and have your what's it called? And have your visa appointments set up. Keep checking for dates. You keep checking, and you pay online too. You can pay online. You don't even need to go to the bank these days. I think they use First Bank now. Yeah, the last time I did for some, I think it's First Bank. So you just do this one. Use First Bank. You make your payments online. You can do your transfer. Before they used to use GTB. So have all these things at the back of your mind that these two forms are very important. DS-160 form and that AVTS. Those are the two forms that are very important. You complete it and schedule your date, and print out, when you get date, print it out. For your DS-160, you need your confirmation page. You need your confirmation visa page. And then if you get dates, I always tell people they should pay their service ID after they have got dates. Yes. Because your service ID expires within 1 year. If you go and you get admission, maybe in February, you're not going to pay for your service ID in February. Next year, January, to expire. And you do not get date, so maybe you didn't get date on time. But if you got your admission in February and you got date in May, because to get date now is scarce, and you get date in May, and then you pay for this, so it means that April next year, that's when your service ID waste. For those that maybe if the person is denied the visa, you can still be processing another visa and still use the same service ID. That is the reason why I encourage people to get their service ID payment after they must have got a date for their visa appointment. That's the reason. So it's logical so that you don't waste money and start paying for another visa fee because you've been denied visa and you have to wait again to get dates and all of those things. So what are the visa requirements? You are going as a student. So definitely your visa requirement as a student, have this at the back of your mind. I don't know if you are aware, if you are married, your spouse cannot work in the US. They are dependent on you. That's the structure of the visa thing. So you need to be aware of all these things and know how to navigate yourself. And this will help you in preparation for your visa interview. When you know that your spouse cannot work, it makes you to prepare better for your questions, the kind of questions that you can be asked, during your visa. But before your visa, be honest with your visa application, because what you do on the form, they have access to it. And when you're talking and it doesn't align, you're going to put yourself in trouble and can get you a denier. For example, I encourage people to work on their social media accounts, like LinkedIn and all of those things. Is very important to work on them. Make sure that what you have on your portfolio, if you are very active on LinkedIn, let it correlate with what you have in your DS-160 form. It's an hack. And I'll tell you why. My friend in 2024 went for a visa interview, and I prepped her for the visa interview. Even though I can be very brutal, I don't think she can come back as a client again. She was my friend, so I prepared her, prepped her, we talked about it, gave her questions. It was hot. It was in a hot seat. But 2 days before the visa interview, we just came up with this idea, because she's graduate assistant at Adekunle University. She was a graduate assistant at Adekunle University. So we just came up let us go. I asked her, what is your LinkedIn profile like? What does it look like? Blah, blah, blah. And she told me, I said, oh, we have to reformat it to match up with whatever. She had to, that time you can still delete this. I don't know if it's still workable now. We had to refill another DS-160 form and then go and revalidate it on our appointment, because that time they're still using the old site. I don't know if that is obtainable now. Like you can delete and rework. Do you know that they searched for her when she was doing the interview? I'm telling you the truth. After she left the interview, if somebody searched for you on LinkedIn, you get a notification, because she told them in the recent interview that she's she's lecturing at da 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 da. That's the keyword the person used to search for, and her LinkedIn profile was one that came up on Google. That was the link. That was the exact thing. If she didn't have that discussion during her recent interview, she probably would not know who searched for her. So that is why you need to marry whatever you have on your application with whatever account. Because if somebody types your name, if you type my name now, you're probably going to see my LinkedIn profile come up. So if somebody is telling you this is who they are and it's not correlating, she got the visa, of course. So you need to let your honesty spread across whatever you are doing. If you have changed name before and it was as a result of marriage and then you have no longer married to the person, let it show in your application. They will write previous name. They will write surname. They will not write previous last name. Please put it. If you have also changed name, it's not only previous last name they normally put. Some people used to, some people used to change their name. My husband had also an issue like that. When I saw this name was not Ali, men can be very, very, very distant, and people generally, some people, they are answering. My husband was answering Kingsley Chukunonso Nriagu. Later, you answer Chukunonso Kingsley. It was just this. Later, you bring Mineducafe. He's just bringing the name. I don't know what gave him that understanding. So that's why I said that, men, please, if you are the type that used to write Mineducafe, your name is Dolamu Sheung Oluda. You not write Sheung Dolamu. No, don't do that. We had to. Then I said, bring your this thing. My husband brought his NIN. Do you know the name is different? The arrangement and everything is different on NIN. It's different from the one in his birth certificate. So I just told him we have to use the one in his birth certificate. So we had to go to NIN people. We had to change the name. We did affidavit, all of this to make sure the name correlates and matches with what that we are going to have on the international passports. You can be thinking it's little, is something, is nothing. It counts. Names, it starts from that place. So ensure that your names are matching because you don't know what is going to be pulled up in their presence, and they will not be seeing different names. This one, you will go to this place is very Chinonso Kingsley. You will come here, you say Mineducafe Kingsley. Guy, how are you doing it? How are you answering complicated names? And they are his names, but he's not answering one name in the other. If you are answering this name, let it be this is the name you are going with. You can be doing guy name, it's okay, but let it sync. So on naming, if you know that your documents does not sync with your name, please go and make sure they are synced. Whether you need to go to the bank to do, you need to go to a court, like these people that used to do affidavit, do it. Do all those things. We did newspaper publications for my husband's name. We did it so that everything will sync. So please, it's an eye-opener for me, and that's why I'm sharing it, that it's something that it can be triggering. You can think it's just name. It's not just name. When it comes to these things, they are very important. Okay, let's do questions and responses. Okay, Peace, you can go ahead because you've been raising your hand up. Then we'll go for common questions interview, which would be like probably the last one because it's still the same thing. These are questions, so we're going just to take some few questions. Peace, you raised your hand. You can go ahead and talk. It looks like Peace is not here. Okay, let's listen to Zachary.
Okay, thank you again. My question is, sometimes when, for instance, you go to the portal and they requested you to write your name. For instance, now, my name, there is an apostrophe in that Yahoo, YA apostrophe U. So in the part that they ask you to provide your name, when you write your name with that apostrophe, maybe the way they program it is you cannot write any character there sometimes. So whatever you do, it will not allow you to do. So I have to delete it, then the application will go. So how do you think in this case?
You don't have problem. I don't think you have problem with that. I would say you don't, because it's just apostrophe is just like what name do they call these things? Apostrophe, command, they are just punctuation marks. So it's not, it's just punctuation marks.
And based on this experience that you just share now, for instance, now all my social media handles are the same thing, Zakaria Uinusa, even my name, my passport, everything. But in the case of my degree, they used to start with the surname, then the first name. They used to interchange.
Which one is your first name? Which one is your first name?
My first name is Zakaria.
Zachariah, yeah. Okay, that's your first name.
Yes,
Your last name
yes,
is Yunusa, right?
yes. So
So
in my
in
degree result,
your
they
degree,
interchange it. Yeah,
so they started with Yunusa.
yeah, they are starting with surname, then first name. That's what they do.
I think that's what Nigerians do, but it's not like that in America. And I don't know about British, but I know America is not like that. It's first name and then last name, and then initial sometimes of the second name. In fact, most people don't even add second name, but sometimes they can ask you for initials. I don't think it's something you should worry about. That one is different. This one has nothing to do. This one is totally understandable. You don't need to do anything. Your name is okay
Okay,
because it's still the same. It's
okay,
just the rearrangement of your first
okay,
name and last name. This case is
okay.
different. That this person is Chukunonso Kinsley Nriagu. You will not put Kinsley Madu Abuchi Nriagu. In the one you have Chukunonso, you don't have the other one, you have Kinsley Chukunonso. It's not the same. That one is
Yeah,
different.
yeah.
That's Nriagu, Chukunonso Kinsley, or Chukunonso Kinsley Nriagu, like that. It's still okay, but not bringing another of your name. Most Yoruba people, they have 10 names that their parents gave them. I'm not lying because I grew up, I was born in Yoruba land, so they have many names. So some people used to add additional names like that. So it's not good. Just like my husband has 2 Igbo names. Imagine 2 Igbo names, and what he does is he's always interchanging the names. The one that comes to his mind, he will write in that one. So don't be like him. So this question, let me read it. Please, if you are still here, ask your question because I want to respond to Aminat Ganiyo's question on the chat. She says, must your surname and your hobby surname be? No, don't get me wrong. I did not say it must be the same. What I said was that if you are applying for a program, let me take for instance, I'm going to use myself as an example. My former last name is Iyejirika. And let's assume when I was applying for my PhDs or all the applications I did not use my husband's name. I used my father's name. I just have to continue using my father's name and not change it because let's say I use my father's name to apply for all the applications I did and for them give me admission and it's my father's name that is there. I can't do change of name. Don't need to do change of name. I can't do change of name. I'll just continue using that name. And you cannot interject because let's say my passport has expired. I cannot go and change my passport to my husband's name. It's not because the name on my application is my father's name. But in the case that I said now, if I'm still answering some people are still answering their father's name on informal documents. You know that, right? Maybe on their social accounts they are still answering and they keep on right. Maybe they forgot. Some people can be very careless. And then in my case, I'm answering my father's name, but in the application, I want to put my husband's name. That's what the application recognizes. And that's what the USCIS is going to recognize. The name on the document is what they recognize. What I need to do, if I'm still answering my father's name that I've not changed it, is that I have to go and change it to match up with the name that I already have in my application. Is that clear? That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm trying to let you know, so that it will match up. But if you have not changed you are still using your husband's name. You are still using your father's name. You have never used your husband's name. You don't have to be worried. Continue using it. When your application in your DS-160 form now, let me go back because I know your question doesn't go to that, but I'll say it. In your DS-160 form, still put the name you're answering. Your father's name that you're answering. Then when they say, are you married? Say you are married. Don't say other. Say you are married. If there's other question that they ask, then respond to it there. If they ask you, because in the place they will ask you for your partner's name, your husband. If you say you're married, then you put your husband's name. So it's in their record. So there's no confusion when you go for your visa interview that you didn't state you were married. And again, if you're in a relationship, this is for those people that are in a relationship, and you are completing your DS-160 form. Based on my personal experience during the visa interview, my advice would be that if you're in a relationship, put other, don't put single. And if you know that it's a serious relationship, put other, don't put single. I remember during my visa interview, one guy, he's a guy. He came for the visa interview. The wife now, because they later got married, but they were dating when the girl left Nigeria. The person is in America. And he was going to join the person. Remember, they were dating when the guy left. They were not yet married when the girl left Nigeria. And he now went for the visa interview. They now asked him, like, who is the gate? He said, is the wife. And I said, do you know that this visa interviewer pulled out the information of this girl? I'm telling you the honest truth. Pulled up the information of this guy and saw that the girl did not say, how come you people are now married? He said that they just got married. The lady was like, no. But in the girl's application that he put single. That's the word. Yeah, the woman said, if you were to be really in relationship with you, you're not supposed to put single. They're supposed to put other. The girl is not there to go to the interview venue with the guy. They denied the guy the visa. Whether the guy is saying the truth, I don't know. But he was denying the visa. So define your relationship. That's my point. Define your relationship, especially when it has to do with the visa. Define your relationship. Let's take Peace question.
Okay, thank you so much. So my question, can you hear me, please?
I can hear you.
Okay. My question is actually regarding or with regards to name, being married or not. So in my own case now, I am married, right? And in my transcript certificates, in fact, both undergrad and postgrad, I can it's my father's name that is on those documents. Even though I got, even after getting married, going for my postgrad and what have you, my husband was like, don't worry, continue sort of going for all those change of name and what have you, just continue with with your father's name. So that was what I did. But though with that of what is it called? Passport is actually my husband's name, but my document and the school application, I'm using my husband's name because that is what I'm having on my passport. But now my documents, like both my undergraduate and master's certificate and the rest, they are all on my father's name.
Yeah, they have to be your father's name. Which name do you want it to be before? Except you were married when you were with your husband and you went to school with him. I don't think it's a problem. I did the same thing. So I had my father's name.
I was married though for my second degree. I was already married.
I don't think it matters because I also did a second degree. So you can have, but the point is that what you currently have with you now, which is your international passport, is carrying your husband's name. That should, because that is an international document, and you are going to be using the international document for your admission. So your application should carry that name.
Okay.
Because that's your means of identity outside Nigeria.
Okay.
Yeah. So it should carry your husband name because that's what's on your international passport, and that's what you'll be using. That's what you will go with. So you're not going to cause confusion if you go and put your father's name. That's what you will use to go for your visa interview. Your passport and your I-20 is going to carry. I mean, your I-20 is definitely going to carry your husband's name because that's the name you are going to use for your application. So it's going to tally with your passport. Yes, it tallies.
Okay, like what I do in the application now that we have already started. I've already started. What I do is that later they will ask you, do you have other names, other middle name? I will now come down there and now put that.
Yes, previous name. That's why I said previous names answer. You have to. That's what I did too.
Okay.
Somebody asked a question in the comment section. You're welcome. I went for a visa interview in July this year, and I paid my service fee by April. I was placed on administrative processing and unfortunately lost the admission. Will I need to pay another service fee next year since I'm still technically? Yes, if it's already 1 year after that money, they will even send notifications to you or something that thing has expired. You will have to pay another. If this thing has already expired, get the answer right straight. If the service fee, I say service fee used to expire and it's 1 year duration. If it has passed 1 year, it has expired. Or even if you have not traveled, you have to pay another one. You have to pay. You have to pay another one. You have to renew and pay another one. That's how it works. Aminat. Okay, let me unmute Aminat. She's always something. Aminat, you can ask your questions before we go to the kinds of questions that you can take notes. Chas. So that will be the last question on this. We'll move to the next thing.
Okay, thank you.
All right.
Can you hear me, please?
Okay, let's listen to Aminat then. Chas, you can come up.
In your first, is it in your first trial, like you are going for your visa interview? Maybe you got an admission to PhD fully funded, and definitely you know as a married woman, maybe you have 1 or 2 kids. You'll be going with your family, probably, maybe. at the early stage. Are you supposed to go with them in the first instance that you are going? Or please, how do you think
I
you
like
are?
this way, but it's subjective. That response is subjective, actually. And I'll tell you why. I feel like, no, it's objective. I'll tell you why I feel like that way, because everybody has what is working for them. I've heard a couple of people based on my position and the experiences people have shared with me, personal experiences. I know somebody reached out to me on LinkedIn some time ago, it wasn't last year. She went with our family. Her husband is a doctor. He has kids, and they went together for the visa. She's going for a PhD, precisely, just like what you're asking. And fortunately, they gave her the visa. They didn't give her family. They gave her the visa. They didn't give her family. I don't know how she prepared herself for the visa, so I cannot say. Another person too that I know, that one was going for a master's program. She went with her kids alone, not her husband. Mark that word. She didn't go with her husband. She went with her kids. They denied the kids and denied her the visa. She didn't get the visa. She had funding, not like she didn't have funding. They denied her the visa. They denied her family the visa. I've also seen a case of somebody that went with his family and they got the visa. The person was going for PhD. He was going for a PhD, and that was their first issue. One child, I remember, was still a baby. He has a baby, and then the wife. The three of them went for their visa interview, and they gave the three of them their visa. He went, and the wife later, and the kids later joined them after 6 months, I think. So you see that there is no definite answer. Preparation is important. But if I'm to advise, what I tell people oftentimes, I don't like families being separated. I was separated from my family for like a couple of, let's say 1 year and some before they finally joined me. They didn't go with me for the visa. I went for my own visa before they went for their own visa. So everybody has what is working out for them. And I don't know. So it's up to you. If you want your family to go with you and you think you can defend yourself and prepare yourself, prepare your husband as well, and know what to say and how to say it, and it works, and you meet a good visa counselor. Perfect. It's good.
Amen. Amen.
So that's it. So it works in different way for different people. Some people are not lucky. They will deny all of them. Some people are even partly lucky. They will give the applicant and deny others, just like the case of that lady. They deny the husband, and in fact, the husband is a doctor, a medical doctor in Nigeria. They deny it. They have home ties, so to say, but I feel like the home ties is not strong enough because all of them. Home ties is the key thing when it comes to visa, this thing. Yeah, it's key. It's key. And I'll share this last experience on visa application. The response you give is important in your visa. I keep using myself because I have gone through different shapes in this visa interview. My husband and my daughter first went for their visa interview one time. I knew within me because I had prepared. I didn't have the time to mock him, but I gave him excerpts of the things he could do for the visa, sent him texts on WhatsApp, kinds of questions that can be asked and how he should respond. My husband went there and said something else. He did not say what I asked him to say, and they denied him the visa. That's the truth. I told him that if they ask you, okay, why are you going to tell them that Chizoterem, that's my daughter, has been away from the mother, and she's having the thing it's not it's affecting her psychologically. In fact, the school had to come in. He has a school report on that. That she's no longer, so the child is the best bet for him. But he didn't say that. He didn't say that. That was not a response, and they denied them the visa. And that's made me to sit up and say, okay, we have to do this. The second time, I was the one that mocked him, even though it was not convenient for him, because I'm sure he would be seen as a bad person at the time I was mocking him, preparing him for the visa interview. Because I'll tell him, if you go and answer, they will not give you the visa. That kind of response. So I was hard. I can be a very hard person when it comes to this stuff, but it paved way. When he went for this last one, he went for, and they asked him questions. Where are you going? He told them, where is your wife? How long have you guys been married? He told them, we're married 7 years. What was how long has your wife been away? He told them, where is it? They asked for our marriage certificates. Yes. They asked for my child's birth certificate. Imagine if he didn't go with all of these things. They asked him, was the child, the person stood up twice, according to what he told me. He stood up twice, went to meet one of the heads and say, okay, he came back again. The lady came back, asked him another question, went back and met the boss again. 2 times the person stood from their seats. It's like they were conversing to know whether they were going to give him the visa or not. And eventually they gave him the visa. I told him to say that he was going to visit. They were coming for holidays. That's the point. They're coming to visit me, even though they're on F2, they're coming to see where I live. They're coming to see how I'm doing, what I'm doing, how what I'm studying is thriving. They're going to spend like 2 weeks. And I made sure in their DS-160 form, it was the period, like they were going to spend 2 weeks on the DS-160 form so that it tallies with what they are saying. Didn't make it look they were coming to stay with me, even though they're entitled to stay with me, because their visa is dependent on mine. The duration I have is the duration they give them is there. On the passport, it's going to be, even if they give 2 years, but they will dependent on the DS. That's what it will be, depending on the duration of your program. That's the final stay on your visa. So these are the things you need to consider when we talk about visa. You have to be strategic. I keep saying it. Even though if you want to go, your program is, you have to be strategic. He said it's going to be there 2 weeks, it's just going to visit. Oyibo people, they like things, all this family thing. They know that it's just for fun. You can imagine there's some silly things you even say that they will give you visa. It's not something serious. That's what I've come to understand in the last few years. It can be serious, but it's not something like elaborate. You don't have to, yeah. Of course, they're living with me. They're my dependent. They're staying with me because as long as my program is in it, they gave him the visa that they will get is F2. And whatever an F1 gets is what an F2 gets. So it's the same. Yeah. So Charles, ask your question. We should go to the next thing, which is.
Okay, thank you for everything you said. So I just want to just for clarification's sake, say somebody's that's when the person is applying and then his international passport would end, say December this year, and then you're applying for next year. So is it wise to still start the application and with that because sometimes in the application they will ask when is your international passport, when it gets to expire. So do you use that one, or you start the process of renewing your passport?
I don't think you should renew your passport. I would say that you should still be using your old passport. Why your passport is important is when you're going for your visa interview and when you're getting your I-20. It has to be 6 months at least valid before you get your I-20.
Okay.
Yeah. When I was doing mine, I had an expired passport. I didn't even have, it was when I got my admission, I had to get a passport. I had to renew my passport. My passport had expired when I was doing my applications. It was after the admission because I said if I did not get admission, I will not renew passport. That's what I said to myself. So it was when I got admission, I renewed my passport. So let's look at common interview questions. This one is about your studies. Why do you want to study in the US? In this type of interview, you want to focus on the quality of education that the US offer that is streamlined to your specific program of choice that you want to do. Because you are choosing the US for a particular reason. You are not choosing United Kingdom. Neither are you choosing Turkey, neither are you choosing India. So there should be something specific. Something small, very specific. Don't come and be giving 1 point, 2 point, 3 points. I don't think it makes sense. Look for something specific and build your response around that thing that is very specific. That's why I say avoid better education, avoid those generic terms because the word. Now, go and do a research of why your program is really fit for the US, why you want to go to the US to do that specific program. And when it comes to the university question, why did you choose that university? The best answer, the best way to go about this is that you want to connect with the professors that you've already been in touch with. I mean, not them. I mean, when you're responding to this, because that will buttress your specificity of your choice of university and program. Okay, that's one of the things that you need to consider. What's your major field of study? It's good. That's why I said it's good to have research interest. Because if you don't have research interest, how do you now want to attend the question when they say, what's the major field of study? If you don't have research interest, how do you want to elaborate on it? Don't do la cala or whatever they call it, be cramming. Nah, it doesn't work. Sometimes they'll ask a question to throw you off balance because that's the honest truth. It will throw you off balance. So you don't want to cram. You want to be natural. You want to understand the things, because if you do, or if you did your application yourself, there is no way they will ask you any question in the visa interview that you will not be able to do it, or you'll not be able to give good response. You wrote your SOP yourself. You know your research interests. You know all these key things that you want to do. And they ask you a question, what's your major field? And you are stuttering. I know you can be tense. You should only be tense after the first question. The next question, you should be able to take your balance, because that's the first time you're meeting the person. So you want to get composure and respond logically. That's what you want to do. So if they ask you a question about your academic background, the question about, especially this one is very important, especially for those who are switching career. You have to be strategic, because this visa consular, they are psychologists. They are very stupid, some of them, I'm sorry to say. They can be very annoying. They want to probe you and purge you till they don't want to give you the visa. If you have changed area of specialization, like degree course, find a good answer that connects. Find a good response that will connect to the reason why they switched. You're doing economics or you're doing chemistry, and now you're moving from chemistry, you're doing psychology. That's totally, totally different. You want to find a good reason why you are switching to psychology, and you want to find a relevancy, how psychology can even connect more to chemistry, that kind of thing. It might be very helpful. So think about that in that regard, about questions. I don't know. So don't cram, okay? Don't cram. So what's your academic plan? Spend quality time on your school program choice. That's where your academic plan is also there, because the school has a program structure. The first year you're taking these courses, I think this type of question, I was asked something like this. If I didn't know the time frame of my program and each level, each year, what I'm expected to do, I may not be able to have a good structure of academic plan. So you need to spend quality time. One of the schools that we checked has something like that. I don't know. I know that there was one school that we checked before that put up the program outcome. I don't know if it's this school. I'm just trying to see. The program outcome. It's not this one. That school has the program outcome. It has the program outcome, and they have it there. You will see what the program looks like, the duration, the first year. They put it there, and I'm trying to see if I can get this on this place, but definitely not here. Let me just see. It's not. I don't think it's this school. I don't want to waste time. Well, if you see the program outcome, if you go to the program outcome of that school, you will see program requirements. Yes, the term is program requirement. Check the program requirements. You will see year 1, they will write the course. Year 2, they will write the course. Year 3, they will write comprehensive. Year 4, dissertation prospectus supposed to be submitted. That is proposal. Your decision proposal is supposed to be submitted. So they'll have it there. So figure out how you can map yourself around these terms and prepare yourself for the visa. In case something like this is asked, then you'll be able to respond to it. Okay? Do you have any plans to work in the US during and after? I would say you should say no. You don't have plans. Guys, even if you have plans, someone shared an excerpt on, you may know the person if you are very popular, if you are very present on Twitter. I think is a gift. One of them, there are 2 friends like that. They go to Stafford. They shared one of their experience. They're already in the US. These people are not people that are looking for admission. They are doing their PhD. And they went for their visa interview in Nigeria. They wanted to renew their visa. So they asked one of them. She was carried away, by the way. They rejected that. They denied her the visa, actually, in Nigeria. She was going to renew. So it's not like she's coming to the US for the first time. I think she was going to her third year and she went to renew her visa. And they asked her this question, do you want to work in the US? And she said she would like to work in, like, she looks forward to work in Colombia and all of those things. She was carried away. They denied her the visa. So I would say that it's good to have dreams, but keep it to yourself. Your major plan of coming to the US is to study. And the idea is that when you study, you leave the country, in quotes, even though everybody has intention to stay, something like that. It can be triggering because of the nature of the kind of visa that you are, that you are going for. Do you get it? It can be triggering, but make sure that the first is there are stages to these things. The first stage is for you to get the visa. When you come to the US, you elaborate on your dreams and work towards a lot of stuff and go through the right route to get another visa. Maybe it's the EB1 or EB2. I mean, your founder does that. So if that's another route you want to do, or you want to be on any one of those ones. So it's a process, it's a journey. It's a journey. It's a journey. Okay, it's a journey. So put yourself in that picture, put yourself in that journey. Get the first step so that you will not miss the next step. That's what I will say. Get the first step so that you will not miss the next step and work towards it. Because in this type of visa category, they want you to show invalid home ties. How do you show invalid home ties when you're already selling off yourself? So focus on this type of visa category. Every visa category is unique in its own way. Everyone B visa cannot be the same as this. Of course, it can be the same response. So you need to focus on all of these things. So make sure you get yourself abreast with the kind of visa, especially for student visa like the one we are discussing today. Know what is workable for you. You can mention briefly the optional practical training that you want to go for after the graduation. Emphasize on all of these things in temporary stay. And your main goal is to return home, actually, to add value to your country in these types of visa. That's what I'll say, okay? So if they ask you this question and they feel like, where will you live in the US? That's why I said you should make arrangements. Is it, for example, if you have not made arrangement, the right thing, the right word or response for you to give is to say you will stay on campus housing. Yes. If you have not made arrangements, say you will live in the on-campus housing, because every school has an on-campus housing. Now, it's very important you have that back of your mind. That's if you have not made it. So don't start to find answers, because you are coming for visa interview. So it doesn't mean that you have done a preparation of where you're going to stay. You're going to a country you don't know anybody, probably. Even if you know people, they may not be living in the same state as you are. So you want to find concrete answers that can give response to. They're definitely just going to ask you like 2 or 3 questions. I don't think it's up to 3. It's less than 2 minutes, probably, except the visa consular wants to keep you waiting. That's when they can ask you several questions. And then you begin to, push you. When they want to push you, they'll push you. They can tease you and make you confess the things that you want. Like they teased gifts. And gifts had to look for flight immediately to leave Nigeria because our visa was expiring that day. I mean, the 9th, the following day, it was already evening. So, it was already, the visa expired that day, but in American time, it's going to expire the following day. They booked the straight flight to America to come in. And then she went for a visa interview somewhere else within the Americas. So you want to think about how to give the right response to the questions that you are asked. All these things has to do with visa, which I think I'll just take questions so that if you have questions, maybe to bring me back to this response that I have here about visa, we can trash it, okay? So ask your questions before we conclude. We have spent extra 1 hour in this meeting, okay? Let me have your question. How can I answer questions around having someone already? Guy, this is a very good question. If my sibling is already there, I would say that the only thing that is on the system when anybody is filling form, I stand to be corrected, is they are your parents' details. When you're filling your DS-160 form, nobody asks you of their siblings. They only ask of your parents, you put it. And the same thing with your brother that has applied before you. He definitely did not have you in the database. It's the parents. They are your parents that they have in the database. And I don't know how swift it could be for them to get the correlation between that. Sometimes I hear people who don't want to talk about it, or they just focus on themselves and say, no, they don't have, and they go ahead and say things. You can't be lucky. These things, some visa consular, they are not patient. Once you say that you have, and the person, they see that the person has not even come home, I don't know if they check it. They may not even give the person visa. Is it safe to say that you can probably be diplomatic? Maybe you saying no, maybe your response, I don't know. But it all depends on the visa consular. If I were to be in the shoes, I probably wouldn't, because I know that full well that my brother did not put my name in the DS1, because there's no option for that in the DS-160 form. The only options for names of anybody that is related to you in the DS-160 form are your parents. Someone too was denying visa based on this response. The person was going for PhD, Cornell University, PhD, and they had funding. Cornell is a big school. It was because of siblings. I think the person mentioned they had siblings also. I don't know. So it all depends on the visa consular, all of this, and depending on the kind of person you meet. But if I were to be in this person's shoe, I'm definitely not going to say my brother is, so long as it's not my parent, because I know my parents own, the track record is there. There's no place that links you and your brother up, except for the parent. I don't know if they have a database that connects all parents that are on their database. I don't know about that. Any other question? Most people that I know that have scaled through this field, I think they were all silent on them. Most people that I know, I don't know. They were all silent on them. I'm yet to see someone who gave yes that their siblings are there. Probably they can say some of them, they have their siblings in other country. They just mention other country, because I know of one person that one mentioned that he has siblings in the UK and what have you, that they are studying. Something like that. But I don't know about the US precisely. Any other question? Before we call it a day. These questions are basically on visa interview, which we can always talk about. Yeah, thank you. If you don't have questions, though, Dr. Taiwo is here, so we are rounding off. We have spent more than 1 hour.
Thank you so
Okay,
much
so I think
for the extra time and the extra value that you've given there. I was just here, just laughing, especially with the visa and so many things about, how men behave and not careful and all of that. So it was very good. Thank you. You kept it real and very relatable, and we really appreciate your time.
thank
Mary.
you.
Yeah. And this is recorded, so
Yeah, it's recorded. You're gonna have access to it.
If you don't mind, maybe I can add you to the group chat, so that maybe some people might want to have a question for maybe the next few days, and you can
Okay,
attend
it's
to
fine.
them. Then, if they're disturbing you too much, we'll remove you so that they don't take too
It's
much of your
fine.
time. All right. Thank you so much for
Thank
that.
you, doctor. Let me appreciate you. I don't know if you still want to say something, but you have been appreciating me. I just want to say thank you for this opportunity. And I mean, I like what you're doing for people, and I really do appreciate it, because I know that it's not easy. Many people will not understand, but I think because I have let me stop recording. Because I think I have a flair. I was in a space that I didn't even have the opportunity that they had. Than doing research, a tons of research on my own. I didn't have the opportunity that somebody can even fund me to do these things and enjoy them. Like, went to the street myself. So that's why I feel like it's a huge privilege if you're on this platform. I mean, if you are in the foundation of the empty scholars and you are not really you might not understand what people go through to get what they want. So this one is given to you on a silver platter, which I think you should hold on to and make the foundation proud. and make yourself also proud. It can be difficult, but I know that you can do it even with the waves of things. So you have a huge support, which is what you should look up to and get the best from it. So I think you should appreciate Dr. Taiwo for this big deal. It's a big deal if you don't know. Maybe you don't understand. It's a big deal. It's a big deal.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you so much. And have a good rest of your day. I know we've taken your
Thank you.
time this
Yeah,
weekend.
my
Yeah.
daughter came in the other time. She looked at me and she was
All right. Have a good
all
one.
right.
Bye.
Bye-bye, everyone.
Thank you.
Oh,
Bye.
peace. Bye.